Hello friends, welcome. The big question that we want to answer today is, can the ancient wisdom solve the 21st century CEO's biggest challenges? In this video, we break down the profound business implications as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. While written thousands of years ago, this specific shlok offers masterclass in high performance leadership and strategic focus. The verse instruct basically asking the CEOs to keep away, and for the modern CEO this isn't just a spiritual advice, it's a blueprint for the flow state. Let us explore this further. Imagine you are a CEO in the middle of a high-stake acquisition. Your board is demanding results, your competitors are closing in, and your team is looking at you for a vision. You feel that the weight of thousands of decisions is too much on your shoulders. Your mind is a storm of what ifs. Now imagine a warrior standing on a literal battlefield, paralyzed by the same doubt. This was Arjun 7,000 years ago. So often we think of ancient wisdom as something for a yoga retreat or a quiet temple, but the most powerful leadership manual ever written, and that is Bhagavad Gita, wasn't spoken in a forest. It was spoken in the middle of a war zone. Today we are diving into one of the specific verse, which is chapter 8 verse 7, that contains the ultimate formula for modern executive performance. It is a secret to bring all in without burning out. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Now let's look at the text. Bhagwan Krishna tells Arjun, and the quote starts, "Therefore at all times think of me and fight. With your mind and intellect surrounded to me or surrendered to me, you will surely come to me." At first glance, a busy executive might say, I don't have time to think of God while I'm looking at Q3 projections. But look closer at the duality Bhagwan Krishna proposes. He doesn't say stop fighting or meditate. He says think of me and fight. Right? So in business context, me is the divine, represents your higher purpose or your inner center. This is a double focus strategy, and there are several things which are associated with this. First is the internal, maintaining a core of stillness and value. What is external? Executing your duty with 100% intensity. Most CEO think performance comes from juggling 10 things at once. Science tells us that that's a lie. Multitasking is just switching tasks rapidly, which lowers your IQ by 10 points. Verse 8.7 offers a different way, which is absorption. When Bhagwan Krishna says surrender your mind and intellect, he is describing what modern psychology calls the flow state. When you surrender the outcome, the anxiety of whether the deal will close or if the stock will dip, you basically free up 100% of your cognitive resources for the action itself. You aren't fighting the market and your own anxiety at the same time. You are just fighting the market without any anxiety. And that makes you dangerous for the competitors. Don't you think so? So how do you actually do this in the boardroom? It comes down to 3 pillars. Number 1, the intentional detachment. You are responsible for the effort, not the fruit. If you're obsessed with fruit, which is things like bonus, ego, praise, your hand will shake definitely. If you focus only on the duty, which can be strategy, the team, and the product, and your strike is true. Second is the anchor. What is the anchor here in this case? What Bhagwan Krishna is asking you to do? Before a big meeting, find your me. For for some it is like a 30-second breathing exercise. For others it's a core value like integrity or service. That is your anchor. You think of me, which is the anchor, and then you fight, which is the meeting. Number three is surrendered intellect. This means during your homework, the data, the spreadsheet, the research, and then trusting your intuition. You have done the work, now let the higher intelligence take over. So, why do CEOs burn out? It is not the hard work. Humans are built for hard work. We burn out because of the emotional friction. Emotional friction is a thought of me being replaced by thought of me. How do I look? What if I fail? What will they think of me? Etc. etc. Verse 8.7 removes the I from the equation. When you are absorbed in me, you are a vessel for the task. The work becomes a worship. When work is worship, it doesn't drain you, it sustains you. The verse ends with a promise, you will reach me certainly. And the quote close. In the spiritual sense, this is the liberation. In the business sense, this is the pinnacle of leadership. It is a point where you are no longer a victim of the market volatility or internal stress. You are a leader who is both a warrior and a sage. So tomorrow morning when you open your laptop or walk into the keynotes, remember the command from 7,000 years ago, and it says, don't just fight, think of me and fight. So internalize and stillness, they externalize the excellence. That is how the ancient wisdom powers the modern performance. So friends, please let me know what you think about this, and if you have any questions or any doubts, please do not hesitate to send it across in the comment section below. Before I close this session, I would like to speak few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and namaskaram. In a landmark deal that reshapes the global AI landscape, Meta has officially partnered with Reliance Industries to build its first ever AI-enabled data centers in India. Located in Jamnagar, Gujarat, this 168 megawatt facility is more than just infrastructure. It is a clear signal that India is rapidly becoming the backbone of the next generation of artificial intelligence. Let us explore this further. Hello everyone, my name is CK and welcome back to Akulmach Business. If you have been following the global tech landscape, you know the narrative has shifted. For years, the story of artificial intelligence was written almost exclusively in Silicon Valley. But today, the center of gravity is moving. Just day before yesterday, on June 10th, 2026, we saw a watershed movement. Meta has officially announced its first build-to-suit AI data center in India, located in Jamnagar, Gujarat, in partnership with Reliance Industries. We are talking about massive 168 megawatt facility that will eventually power some of the most advanced AI workloads on this planet. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in. and which language you're watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. All right. But why India? Why is a global giant like Meta pouring such massive capital into our backyard? Today, we are going to peel back the layers of this strategy. This isn't just about servers, it's about the intelligence era. Let's look at the logistics. Why Jamnagar? Reliance isn't building a warehouse, because usually all the big business of Reliance, which are bulk in nature, are all located in Jamnagar. So they are building a hyperscale campus. This facility isn't just powered by the grid, it is designed for sustainability using renewable energy and desalinated seawater for cooling. Meta is covering the cost to ensure this just isn't just big, it is efficient. And look at the geography. Jamnagar sits right next to the key undersea cable landing station. Meta is connecting this facility to Project Waterworth, the world's longest subsea cable system. This allows them to tie India's digital infrastructure directly to their global nervous system. For Meta, India isn't just a market of 1.4 billion people anymore. It is becoming a compute hub. They are betting that India's infrastructure can handle the most complex AI reasoning models, and they are backing it with over a gigawatt of renewable energy agreement with partners like CleanMax. Think back to 2016. The conversation in India was about the cost of the data. We led a revolution that made the internet accessible for everyone. Mukesh Ambani said recently, India cannot afford to rent intelligence. Therefore, we will have to reduce the cost of intelligence as dramatically as we did with the cost of data. And that is the mission. Meta's partnership with Reliance and their joint venture in artificial intelligence is aimed at democratizing high-end AI tools. And what is that we are talking about here? We're talking about starting with business agents, automating customer services across WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram for millions of small businesses. Number two, creator assistant, giving the massive Indian creator economy the tools to analyze performance and generate content in real time. Meta is betting that if they provide the tool for intelligence, the Indian market will build the solution on top of it. So why are they doing this now? Because the data is undeniably very important. A recent BCG report shows that India leads the world in workplace AI adoption. 97% of the Indian managers are using AI regularly. We aren't just consumers of technology, we are at its most enthusiastic implementers. When you combine our demography dividend, our massive technical talent pool, and now this world class infrastructure that Meta and Reliance are laying down, you got an ecosystem that is perfectly primed for a particular scaling. A global giant realized that if they want to win in AI, they don't just need to sell to India, they need to build in India. So, what does this mean for people like you and me? For the developers, for the business owners, and for the students watching this channel, it means the barriers to entry for AI innovation is collapsing. With the level of infrastructure, India is transitioning from service provider to global hub for AI driven transformation. We are no longer just outsourcing work, we are insourcing the intelligence revolution. As we see these data centers come online over the next 2 years, keep a close eye on the applications being built here. We are entering an era where your local business, your education system, your career will be powered by compute capacity that was previously unimaginable. So friends, once again, my name is CK and this is Akulmach Business. If you found this deep dive valuable, hit that like button, subscribe subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments, do you think India will become the number one global destination for AI development by 2030? Let us discuss it more, and I await your messages and opinions. See you in the next one. Hello, friends. Namaskaram. You are most welcome. Today we have a profound question. Have you ever wondered why the company that sells you cigarettes is also stocking your kitchen pantry? From Ashirwad Atta to Bingo Snacks, India's biggest tobacco giant has pulled off one of the most successful business pivot in corporate history. But why leave the high margin tobacco business to chase a ultra competitive food market? In this video, we dive deep into the strategic metamorphosis of the tobacco giant, specifically looking at how they leverage their massive distribution network, cash reserves, and marketing expertise in dominated India FMCG sector, which is fast moving. Let's go and discuss this further. Imagine a company, its main source of revenue for decades has been a product that is globally recognized as harmful, heavily taxed, and increasingly restricted by governments everywhere. Every year, more people quit, and every year, regulations get tighter. So, if you are the CEO of that company, you would have a massive problem. You are starting to realize that you're staring at a sunset industry. But then you look around your office, you realize you have something more competitors, that do not have the world most powerful distribution network. So, what do? You don't close shops, you pivot. You decide that if you cannot get into the lung of the consumers, you are going to get into their kitchens, which is stomach of the consumer. Welcome to the most fascinating corporate transition of this century, the shift from tobacco to food. Today, we are unpacking the world's biggest cigarette giant, are betting billions of their revenue on your breakfast, your snacks, and your dinner table. So, friends, if you reached so far, let me know name of your city or country from where you have tuned in into this video. All right, let's proceed further. First, let's talk about why. It is not a secret, it is survival. For tobacco giant, the writing has been on the wall for a long time. Things like declining volumes, health awareness is at all-time high. People are definitely quitting smoking and smoking less and less. Number two is regulatory pressure. Government are hiking taxes to record levels, banning advertising, and mandating gruesome health warning on the packaging itself. Number three is the ESG pressure. Investors are increasingly moving away from the sin stocks. If you want to keep your stock price high, you need to be diversified FMCG company, not just a tobacco company. And this is what the analysts call de-risking. They aren't trying to replace tobacco overnight. They're trying to ensure that when tobacco eventually shrinks to shadow of its former self, they have they have a giant profitable food business to catch their fall. It's a transition from a sin economy to an essential economy. You might be thinking, wait, making cigarettes and making noodles are two different things completely. So, how does tobacco firm become a food giant? The answer lies in the last mile. Tobacco companies have spent 100 years building one of the most sophisticated distribution network in history. Think about it. A cigarette is a low margin, high frequency product. It needs to be available in every single corner store, every kiosk, and every rural village in every country. So when these giants decided to enter the food business, they didn't have to build a new network. They just used the existing one. The shopkeeper relationship, they already had rapport with millions of retailers. They already had the logistics engine. They had the trucks, warehouses, and the delivery schedules. They simply told their distributors, instead of just carrying our cigarettes, we want you to carry our biscuits, our noodles, and our spices. And that is the unfair advantage that let them dominate a crowded food market in record time. Let's take the most successful example of this pivot. The ITC in India. I hope you know ITC stands for Indian Tobacco Company, but people like to call it ITC, of course, because nobody wants to talk about tobacco. ITC started as a pure tobacco company, but today it's an FMCG powerhouse. They didn't just launch one snack; they built a portfolio that covers every single part of your day. Starting with staples, which is the Ashirwad Atta. They took the most essential food product in the Indian kitchen, which is the flour, and turned it into a massive trusted brand. Then let's go to the snacks. With Bingo, they distributed the salty snacks market, which was, completely previously dominated by local unorganized players. And thirdly, the convenience. With Yippee, they took the massive instant noodle market, which was already established by other large giants. By diversifying into these categories, they changed their identity. They moved from being a company associated with health hazard to a company that provides daily nourishment. They turned their brand equity into trust. That is the genius of the pivot. They didn't sell, processed food. They sold reliability. But is this a pure virtuous shift? Well, not everyone thinks so. Critics argue that the big tobacco is simply moving from one addictive product to another. The argument is that the same marketing geniuses who mastered the art of selling cigarettes are now applying those exact same philosophies and tactics to ultra processed foods snacks that are high in salt, sugar, and fat, designed by hyper palatable and yes, mildly addictive. There is a growing debate about whether the tobacco industry's entry into the food sector is contributing to the global health crisis of obesity and diabetes. Are we just replacing a smoking habit with a snacking habit? It's a point of view that is becoming harder to ignore as these healthy packaged food continues to take over our pantry and kitchen shelves. At the end of the day, the capitalism is about survival of the fittest. These companies saw the future and they realized that if they didn't adapt, they would die. So whether you love their new food products or are you skeptical of their motives, one thing is very clear: the tobacco giants move into your dinner table is one of the most successful corporate maneuvers of the modern era. They have successfully traded the smoke for palatable sales. So next time you reach for that box of snacks or a bag of flour, take a look at the logo. You might be surprised to see that just how much influence the cigarette giants has over what you feed your family. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments, does knowing a brand history change whether you buy their food or you want to avoid it? I will love to hear your thoughts. Friends, see you in the next one. Hello, friends. In the high stake world of corporate leadership, volatility is the only constant. But what separates a good leader from an unshakable one? In this video, we explore the profound wisdom of Bhagavad Gita and its direct application to the modern CEOs and different, high leadership executives. We dive deep into the concept of samadhi, not as a mystical retreat, but as the ultimate state of the mental clarity and decision making. Let us proceed further on this thought.
Long before the telescope pierced the skies of Renaissance Europe, a brilliant mind in 5th century India dared to challenge the cosmic order. And Aryabhat, through his Aryabhatiya, as that suggested that the earth itself was not a still center of the universe, but a rotating sphere and its motion explaining the dance of stars and the cosmos. In doing so, he planted the seed of heliocentrism nearly 1,000 years before Copernicus. So in 2026, as humanity propose an interplanetary mission and debates on the ethics of AI, design, science, and Aryabhat vision feels startlingly modern. What do you feel about that? Now, going forward, his courage to question orthodoxy mirror our own struggles to redefine boundaries, whether in space exploration or in digital knowledge or in global collaboration. What he offered was not just astronomy but a philosophical revolution, a reminder that Earth is but one participant in the vast cosmic symphony.
So, in the year 499 CE, a young mathematician and astronomer from India named Aryabhat composed Aryabhatiya, a text that would ripple across the centuries. And within its verses lay a daring proposition. The earth was not the immovable center of the universe, but a rotating sphere where it also it's explained the rotating sphere which explains the rising and settling the star. This insight subtle but yet it was really profound at that point of time, and it also hinted at a heliocentric order, placing the sun at the center of the planetary motion. And nearly thousands years before Copernicus formalized the idea in Renaissance Europe. So Aryabhat's vision was revolutionary because it challenged the prevailing geocentric worldwide. And in both Greece and Roman, and even in Indian traditions, Earth was thought to be fixed with celestial bodies revolving around it. Aryabhat broke from this orthodoxy, suggesting that the apparent daily movement of heavens was due to Earth's own rotation. Though his heliocentric leanings were not expressed in the same systematic way as Copernicus, but definitely the seeds of the ideas were unmistakable. So if you have reached this far, please inform us about your city and from where you are tuned in, and in which language you are watching this video, and this will definitely determine the reach of our channel. So look forward. And in 2026, the Aryabhat's heliocentric vision resonates in a striking way. Humanity is once again at a crossroad of knowledge, driven not only by a handwritten actually, manuscript, but also about artificial intelligence, global collaboration. And just as Aryabhat challenged the obvious questions, Earth's immobility, today scientists and technologists challenges assumptions about the creativity, about ethics, and the boundaries of machine intelligence. His legacy also speaks to the decolonization of science. For centuries, the narrative of heliocentrism was framed as a European breakthrough. Yet, Aryabhat reminds us that scientific progress has always been global, with the contributors flowing across the cultures and continents. In an era where the India's ISRO launches a mission to Mars and to the moon, reclaiming Aryabhat's place in history is not just about, and it is definitely not just about the pride. It is also about recognizing the shared heritage of human curiosity. So Aryabhat's genius lay not only in his astronomical imagination, but in his mathematical rigor. He introduced the trigonometric functions approximately and really very to the point, studying and presenting pi with a remarkable accuracy. and devised the method for calculating planetary positions. His equation implied a solar centric system where the planetary motion could be explained more elegantly than by Earth centric models. So these ideas traveled far beyond India, translated into Arabic. Into Arabic language, it was taken by Arabs and Arabics work into a Islamic world. No, so this is how these ideas generate a worldwide. So where the scholars they expanded upon his insights, and centuries later fragments to its knowledge influenced by some of the fragments also influenced European thought and forming part of intellectual soil from which picked up by Copernicus heliocentric model that would grow later, and we know all this. All of us know about this. So Aryabhat's heliocentric model also feels the prophetic in the age of space exploration. So by placing Earth as one planet among many, he reframed humanity's place in the cosmos. Today, as astronaut prepares for Mars mission and telescopes peer into distinct galaxies, his insight remind us that Earth is not the center of existence, but a part of a vast interconnected universe. So in 2026, this perspective is more urgent than ever. So climate change, geopolitical tensions, and AI-driven transformation all demand a planetary consciousness and awareness that Earth is fragile, finite, and not the axis of all the things. Aryabhat's heliocentric courage became a metaphor for humanity and responsibility in the modern age. So Aryabhat's heliocentric leaning were not merely scientific hypotheses, they were act of intellectual bravery. To suggest that Earth itself was in motion and was also a challenging the deepest assumptions of his times. In 2026, as we grapple with the AI ethics, planetary colonization, the global collaboration, Aryabhat's example reminds us that the progress begins with questioning obvious. So his story is not just about astronomy, it is about courage to see things differently. And in that sense, Aryabhat's heliocentric revolution continues to orbit our imagination, urging us to look beyond the familiar and embrace the infinite. So we have come to the end of this video. Please like and subscribe our channel. And we look forward for your comment on this topic. But before we end this video, a few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Stop. Before you hit the delete channel button or give up on your next upload, you need to watch this. Most creators quit YouTube exactly 3 feet from the gold. They see flat lines in their analytics and assume they are failing. But in reality, they are simply in a ghost phase, the period where the algorithm tests your consistency and your skills are being sharpened for the big break. In this video, we dive deep into the psychology of the content creation and why zero views might actually be your biggest competitive advantage. How? Let us discuss this further. You are checking your phone again. It's been 3 hours since you uploaded your latest video and the one you spent all weekend editing. You have refreshed the studio app 10 times and the number hasn't budged. 4 views, 2 of which were probably you. Uh, the thought starts creeping in. Is this even worth it? You see other creators blowing up overnight and you feel like you are shouting into a void. You are ready already to quit, but before you hit that delete channel button, I need you to understand one thing. You aren't failing. You are actually in the most important phase of your journey. Most creators quit exactly 3 feet from the goal. Today I'm going to show you why nobody is watching is actually your secret weapon and why your biggest breakthrough is like hidden right behind the urge to give up. Let's dive in. But before, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. I would also know who's watching and who's not. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's address the elephant in the room, which is the algorithm. We talk about it like it's a sentient being that hates us. It doesn't, but it's a system built on trust. When you are a new creator or you're trying to pivot, you enter what I call the ghost phase. Think about it. Why would YouTube push your content to millions of people if you are only person you can stay consistent for only 2 weeks? The algorithm is testing two things, your competence and your consistency. During this ghost phase, you have a massive advantage that no big creator has, which is freedom to fail. When nobody is watching, you can experiment, you can find your voice, you can mess up the lighting, and you can make terrible jokes without hundreds and thousands of people judging you. This is your training ground. You are not being ignored, you are being incubated. This is the concept from the book Atomic Habits called the plateau of latent potential. We expect progress to be in a straight line up. We think if I put in X amount of work, I should see X amount of views. But the growth on YouTube is exponential, not linear. You spend months, maybe years working in the valley of disappointment, and this is where you are putting in the work, but the result aren't showing yet. You are building the foundation. It's like bamboo tree. It grows underground for 5 years, developing a massive root system, and then it shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. So if you quit during the root building phase, the tree will never grow. Every video you make into a flop is actually a root. It's a data point. It's a lesson. It's one step closer to the 80-foot breakthrough. So why do most creators quit right before they win? It's because of the psychological phenomena called cognitive friction. The effort required to make a video feels much higher than the reward of 10 views. To survive this, you have to shift your win condition. If your win condition is to get 1000 views, you get 50, you feel like as if you have lost it. You feel defeated. But if you win condition is like getting 1% better at color grading or write a more compelling hook, or you do that, you have won already, right? I mean, if you do all of these core competencies, regardless of the view counts, don't you think so? Winning on YouTube is a war of attrition. The pros aren't necessarily the most talented people on the platform. They are the one who refuse to go away. They stayed in the game long enough for the luck to find them. Because on YouTube, luck is just where the preparation meets the long enough timeline. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that you should keep doing exactly the same thing if it is not working. There is a difference between quitting and pivoting. If you have made 50 videos and they all have 0 views, don't quit YouTube. Change your strategy. Maybe your thumbnails are weak. Maybe your intros are too slow. Use the silence to audit yourself. When nobody is watching, you have the lowest stakes possible to reinvent yourself. Don't you think so? So ask yourself, am I making content for me, or am I making content that solves a problem or provide value for someone else? Once you align your passion with audience's need, the nobody watching problem starts to disappear. The hardest part of YouTube isn't the editing or the SEO. It is the mental game. It is showing up on Tuesday morning to film a video when your last 3 uploads tanked. But remember this, every major creator you admire today, from Mr. Beast to MKBHD, had a period where they were talking, making videos, but generating zero interest, 0 views. They felt exactly how you feel right now. The only difference between them and millions of abandoned channels is that they decided to post one more time. Your breakout video is already in your head. It's coming. It's going to come. Definitely. But you can't find it cannot find you if you weren't there to upload it, right? So don't quit. Just get 1% better today. So friends, what do you think? If you have any question or if you want to know more, please leave a comment below and I will see you again in the next one. Before I take your leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, the big question that we want to answer today is that the next industrial revolution happening in deep space? Very profound question. While the world has been focused on the AI boom, a silent titan has been emerging in the labs. And this is known as Mars Plasma Thruster. Forget the silicon gold rush. The real treasure is being found in the vacuum of space. In today's video, we dive deep into the trillion-dollar engine and explore why plasma propulsion is no longer a science fiction, but the backbone of the next global economic era. From slashing the cost of satellites deployment to enabling sustainable deep space logistics, plasma tech is disrupting the global tech market and shifting the scales of geopolitical leadership. We break down the cosmic infrastructure that will define the 2030s and beyond. Let's go. While the world has been looking down at their phones, distracted by the latest AI chatbot and the fluctuating prices of the tech stock, a silent revolution has been brewing in the vacuum of space. We have spent the last decade obsessed with that cloud, but the next trillion-dollar industry isn't made of software. It's made of fire, or more accurately, plasma. In the history of humanity, every great economic gold rush was preceded by a breakthrough in transportation. In the 19th century, we had the steam engine, which opened up the frontiers. In the 20th century, we had the jet engine, which shrank the globe, and the entire earth is now known as a global village. But we stand here in 2026. We are facing a wall. Our current rocket technology, which is based on chemical propulsion, is essentially just a fancy way of blowing things up to push ourselves forward. It's heavy, it is inefficient, and it is the reason why the trip to Mars still feels like a suicide mission. Enter the plasma thruster, specifically the high power variant being designed for a Mars run. This isn't just a faster engine, it is a cornerstone of what we call the cosmic infrastructure. Today we are going to pull back the curtain on why this technology is the trillion dollar engine, and why it's sparking a geopolitical and economic race that will redefine the global leadership for the next century. So friends, if you've reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. To understand the gold rush, we have to understand the tool. Most of us grew up watching the space shuttle or the Saturn V massive towers of fire. Those are the chemical rockets. They work by burning fuel to create a massive amount of thrust in a very short time. It's a great equipment for getting off the earth, but traveling through space, it's like trying to drive across a continent in a car that has 5,000 gallon tank, but only got 2 miles per gallon, right? So plasma thruster, often called the ion engines, are specifically the VASIMR, VASIMR, which stands for Variable Specific Impulse Magnetoplasma Rocket, operate on a completely different principle. Instead of burning fuel, they use electricity, often from the solar panels or the small nuclear reactor, to turn a gas like argon or xenon into plasma. Plasma is the fourth state of matter. By using the powerful magnetic field, the engine accelerates this plasma to incredible speed, up to 50 kilometers per second. Now, here is a magic trick. A plasma engine doesn't have the raw power to lift a house off the ground, but once you are in the vacuum of space, it is the ultimate marathon runner. It can stay on for months, constantly accelerating. While a chemical rocket is a sprint, the plasma engine is a bullet train. It can cut a trip to Mars from 9 months down to just 3 months. But for the tech market, the speed isn't even the most exciting part. It is the efficiency. Because of these engines require fraction of the propellant, we can finally stop sending fuel into space and start sending payload. And in business, payload is profit. So let's talk numbers. Why $1 trillion? Right now, the space economy is valued at roughly $600 billion. Most of that is satellite GPS, satellites, communication satellite, and weather satellites, etc. Also military satellites, but we are not counting those. But there is a bottleneck. Satellites are disposable. Once they run out of fuel to stay in their proper orbit, they become expensive space junk. Plasma thruster changed the math of space logistics. Imagine a fleet of space tugs, a small plasma powered vehicle that can move from orbit to orbit, refueling satellites, repairing them, or moving them to new positions. This isn't just a niche service, it is the birth of an orbital economy. When the cost of moving things in space drops by 90%, industries that were once impossible suddenly becomes inevitable. Think about asteroid mining. A single metallic asteroid can contain more platinum and gold than has ever been mined in human history. But you can't bring a 500-ton rock back to Earth using chemical rockets. The fuel cost would bankrupt you and before you left the atmosphere. With plasma propulsion, however, you have the slow and steady torque needed to move massive amount of raw material across the solar system. And this is a tech gold rush. The winner just won't be one who finds the gold. It will be the one who owns the infrastructure, the engines that make the trade routes possible. This brings us to the showdown. Who is going to own this infrastructure? Very big question. For decades, space are playground of the superpower, the US and Russia. But the plasma revolution has leveled the playing field and at the same time raised the stakes. We are seeing a three-way race. And which are the titans? NASA and the European Space Agency are betting big on nuclear-enabled plasma propulsion for 2030's Mars mission. Who are the disruptors? Private companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, smaller startups like Ad Astra are moving at Silicon Valley speed, aiming to commercialize these thrusters for satellite constellations. And who are the new contender? Nations like India and China are aggressively investing in electrical propulsion systems. India's ISRO, for example, has become a world leader in cost-effective satellite launches. If they can crack the code on high-efficiency plasma engines, they won't just be launching satellites for others. They will be managing a high ground of the global internet and defense network. Global leadership in the 21st century is no longer just about who has the most aircraft carriers. It's about who controls the cosmic toll booths. If a nation or a corporation owns the primary plasma transport network, they effectively control the flow of data, resources, and security for the entire planet. And this is why the Mars thruster isn't just a piece of hardware, it is a geopolitical chess piece. Now, you might be thinking this is all great for astronauts and billionaires, but what does it mean for guys like me and you, people living in Delhi, London, or New York? The tech gold rush always has a ripple effect. When we perfect the jet engines, we didn't just get faster vacations, we got global trade, overnight shipping, and a connected world. The development of Mars-grade plasma thruster requires breakthrough in superconductors, number one. To create the magnetic field needs to contain 1 million degrees of plasma. So we need very high magnetic field generators. Number two is the energy density. To power these engines, we are developing the most efficient solar and micronuclear systems ever conceived. Number three is the material science. Creating hulls that can withstand the bombardment of deep space radiation. These technologies don't stay in space. The superconductor that powers a Mars thruster today will power a fusion reactor on Earth tomorrow. The energy system designed for plasma engines will eventually provide clean, limitless power for our cities. The trillion-dollar engine is a massive R&D laboratory for the problems we face on Earth today. We aren't going to Mars to escape the Earth. We are going to Mars to invent the tool that will save it. So this is very exciting. So friends, do let me know what you feel about it. And I will catch you again in the next one. Before I go, what about our affiliate partner? Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, in this video we will try and unlock the ancient secret to the modern leadership. In today's hyper-connected yet fragmented business world, a CEO's greatest asset isn't just the data, it is the universal awareness. In this video, we explore the profound leadership lesson hidden within Bhagavad Gita and how its wisdom can transform a busy executive into an omnipresent executive. Let's go. In the modern boardroom, we are obsessed with presence. We hire coaches to help us with executive presence, how we stand, how we speak, how we command a room. But there is a level of leadership far beyond, from the mere physical presence. And it is what the ancient wisdom calls omnipresence. Think about the life of a modern CEO. We are pulled into 1,000 directions. Your supply chain is in Asia, your investors are in London, your tech team is in San Francisco, and your family is at home. You feel fragmented. You feel like you are everywhere, yet nowhere at once. Today we are going to unlock a 7,000-year-old solution to this 21st century fragmentation. We will dive into chapter 8, verse 22 of Bhagavad Gita to discover how the Supreme becomes a blueprint for the ultimate leader. So friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. First, let's look at the verse itself, and the verse starts, "The great personality, the Supreme Lord, is only attained through pure devotion. He is prevailing and everything is situated in him." Quote close. At first glance, this looks like, this sounds like purely religious, but for a leader, this is the master class in system thinking. Not the three pillars here. What are the three pillars here? The Supreme Personality, the ultimate standard of excellence, which is one of the pillar. Next pillar is the pure devotion, which is a single pointed, unadulterated focus. And the third is all prevailing nature, the ability to be thread that holds the entire fabric together. The verse says the Supreme is attained through pure devotion. In the corporate world, we call this singularity of purpose. In Sanskrit term, Ananya Bhakti. Ananya means no other. It describes a state where there is no plan B for your values. For a CEO, this means your devotion to the company's mission isn't just the slide in a deck. It is your entire operating system. When leaders has pure devotion to a vision, they stop micromanaging. Why? Because their intent is so clear and so powerful that it permeates every level of the organization. If you are struggling with a team that doesn't get it, ask yourself, is your own devotion to the vision, which is the Ananya, undivided, or is it diluted by ego, short-term stock gains, or the personal distractions. The second half of the verse tells us that the Supreme is all prevailing. As a CEO, you cannot be in every meeting, you cannot see every line of the code, yet an omnipresent executive is felt in every room they aren't in at that point in time. This is the all prevailing leadership style. It's about building a culture that is so strong, so situated in your core principles that the company moves as one body. In the verse it says everything is situated in him. Think of your company as a solar system. You aren't the person pushing the planets. You are the gravity. Gravity is invisible, but it's all prevailing. It keeps the smallest moon and the largest planet in their proper orbit. And that's what the universal awareness looks like in management. The verse conclude by saying everything is situated in him. For a leader, this is the lesson in psychological safety and belonging. When your employees feel situated in your vision, they aren't just workers, they are part of whole ecosystem. The universal awareness means you are recognized that the janitor, the junior developer, and the CFO all are situated within the same corporate destiny. When you lead with this awareness, you stop seeing people as resources and start seeing them as vital components of a living system. When the supreme leader realizes that they contain the whole, they stop leading through fear and start leading through integration. So, friends, how do you become the omnipresent executive? There are a few things that you need to do. It starts with first part of the verse, which is devotion. Today, identify the one core truth of your leadership. Strip away the distractions, because so devoted that truth that it becomes all prevailing in your office. You don't need to be everywhere at once to be a great leader. You just need to be so grounded in your purpose that your presence is felt in every corner of your empire. Everything is situated in this vision that you have created. Make it a supreme one. So friends, what do you think about this? Thanks for joining live. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across, or even your opinions. Before I part ways with you today, I would like to speak few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
The idea of robots living alongside us has been belonged to the realm of science fiction. Yet today it is edging into the reality. With the debut of AI-powered robot designed specially for home use, the boundary between futuristic imagination and everyday life is dissolving. These machines are no longer confined to factory floors or research labs. They are stepping into kitchen, living room, bedroom, promising to transform the domestic routine. The debut of AI robots for domestic use is not just a technological milestone, it is a cultural one also. It sparks curiosity, inspires hope, ignites debate. So, are we welcoming helpful assistants into our lives, or surveillance device disguised as a companion? The answer may shape not only the future of our household but also the broader relationship between human and intelligent machine. Artificial intelligence has begun to step out of the research lab and corporate offices into the most intimate of the space, our home. So debut of AI powered domestic robots marks a turning point in consumer technology, one that blends convenience with controversy. So these machines are designed to handle everyday tasks, tidying rooms, monitoring energy use, assisting with cooking, or even offering companionship. And this appeal lies in the promise of freeing up time, reducing household stress, and creating a seamless, smart living environment. For many consumers, the idea of robot that can anticipate the need and act autonomously and feel natural is the next step after smart speakers and connected appliances. Yet that excitement is tempered by uneasy, and that is privacy debate over flared almost immediately. Unlike a vacuum robot that simply mop your floor plans, and these new AI robots can equipped with advanced sensory cameras, microphones. So they don't just clean, they observe, interpret, and learn. That means that they are constantly collecting data from household routine, personal habits, even private conversations. So for some, this feels like inviting a surveillance device into the living room. The questions become: who owns that data and how securely it stored? So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will determine the reach of our channel. So going forward, the consumer interest is undeniable. Early demonstrations have drawn crowds, and pre-orders suggest a strong demand. Families imagine robots that can help elderly relatives, parents, and vision assistants with the childcare. And the professionals see value in delegating some routine work. So, but alongside with enthusiasm, the critics warn of the risk of dependency and erosion of boundaries. So, if a robot can recognize emotions, respond to the stress, and adapt to the personal preferences, does it cross into the territories of replacing human interaction? So, and if the companies monetize the insight gathered from these robots, does the home cease to be a private sanctuary? So this tension between innovation and intrusion defines the current debate. On one hand, AI robot for home use could actually revolutionize the domestic life. It can provide easiness in the domestic life, making home safer, more efficient, and more responsive. On the other hand, they raise profound ethical questions about autonomy, consent, and surveillance. The debut of these robots is not just a technological milestone, it is a cultural one too. It actually forces society to grapple with what we value more: convenience or privacy, automation or intimacy. For now, the spotlight remains on consumer curiosity. The allure of futuristic living is strong, and many are eager to experiment. But as adoption spread, the conversation will inevitably shift from novelty to accountability. The home, once the most private space, is becoming the next frontier for AI, and how we navigate this frontier will shape not only our domestic life but also our broader relationship with technology. The arrival of AI robots in our home is more than a technical upgrade. It is definitely, as we are discussing, cultural shift. These machines promise efficiency, they also promise safety, and even the companionship, yet they are that is a challenge of our notion of privacy, intimacy within the household. So, as consumer embrace this, and society must also confront the deeper questions: how much of our personal lives are we willing to share with the machines, and who ultimately control that information? So that is that whether they become a trusted helper or controversial intruders will depend only on the technological itself, but also value we choose to uphold as we invite artificial intelligence into our most private corners of our lives. So we have come to the end. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one. But before we close this live streaming, few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. The biggest question today that we have to tackle is, why does everything exist at all? For decades, the physicists have been haunted by the antimatter mystery. The fact that the Big Bang should have produced equal amount of matter and antimatter, leading to total annihilation and an empty universe. But a groundbreaking theory suggests that answer lies in the exploding black holes. In this video, we dive deep into the world of primordial black holes, PBH, tiny high-energy black holes formed seconds after the birth of the universe. Unlike their massive cousins, these tiny titans don't just sit there, they evaporate through Hawking radiation, eventually ending in violent explosions. We will explore how these cosmic firecrackers may have tipped the scale, creating the slight excess of matter that allowed stars, planets, and humans to form. Let us explore this further. Friends, what happens is that everything eventually fall into black hole. If you go very close to the black hole, you will see that the black hole will actually pull you in and then devour you, speedify you, and really bad thing happens to you. Your energy is sucked out and becomes part of the black hole. And so scientists used to wonder, what will happen to black hole? Are they eternal? And it turns out that the Stephen Hawking said, no, they are not, because they are also radiating. And that radiation, very, very minute radiation, very faint, is now what we call the Hawking radiation. Well, this video is not about Hawking radiation, but the important part is that even black hole, which are the biggest sucker of the universe, also radiate, and therefore if they are radiating, that means their mass is going to reduce eventually, and then they will have to completely evaporate. However, black holes don't go out simply evaporate. When they come to the minimum size that they can have, there is a internal pressure, or the pressure of the vacuum, because of which after crossing that threshold, I mean, they have the event horizon, but they also have a minimum size horizon. Once they cross that, they simply explode. They cannot, the inward pressure cannot hold, and it evaporates or explode instantaneously, and the energy is released back into the universe. And that is what may have caused the extra matter that we see, the energy released after exploding of the initial black holes. So now scientists have debated, and they have agreed upon that when the universe formed, there were trillions, gazillions of the primordial black holes formed. These are microscopic black holes, and they are very small as a proton, but they have a mass equal to a moon. So they have still very strong power. They can pull things towards them. They can devour everything, but they're quite small, very difficult to detect. And since they are small, that means their time came before our solar system took birth. When we started coming to the world, the primordial, that's the assumption again, the primordial black holes would have been long gone. So now going back to the mystery. The mystery is, when the universe formed, there should be equal amount of matter and antimatter. Matter is what we are made of, and antimatter is equally an opposite matter. And when these two guys touch each other or come close to each other, they completely annihilate into a pure energy. So now we know that there was equal amount of matter and antimatter was formed in the initial first day of the universe, and then after some time the matter antimatter came close again and annihilated, and therefore there was a second bang. And we now know that the second bang really happened, and then it was still in the very early stages of the universe formation. However, if we take the if we consider the PBH, which is the primordial black hole, very, very tiny small black holes, if they were also formed before the annihilation happened, that means that portion of the matter was not part of the second bang, right? That means the second bang happened, the matter and antimatter collided and exploded with releasing a lot of energy into the space. However, the PBH were out of this explosion, and they evaporated, releasing a lot of matter. And that is where the mystery of why we do not see antimatter in the space. Whatever we see today using our very advanced telescope, we don't see anything made of antimatter. We see everything made of electrons, protons, neutrons, atoms. All of this is matter, and we don't see. Although we can make antimatter in the laboratory, but it does not last, because it's very difficult to hold the antimatter. It will mix with matter and annihilate in pure energy. Nothing is left. It's a matter antimatter explosion is the best explosion, best release of energy, because there are no byproducts out of that. Pure energy is released. So when we don't see antimatter in the universe naturally occurring, that gave rise to the mystery, and that is what we are discussing today. What happened to the antimatter, and why we exist at all? I mean, when matter and antimatter were produced, and then the second bang happened, then from where this matter remained in the universe, of which we are all made of, all the stars in the heavens, all the planets, all the living beings are made of matter. So scientists are now saying that the PBH may be responsible, because PBH would have survived the second bang, and then later they evaporated, releasing the energy, which then condensed into matter. And there was no question of antimatter, that energy condensing into antimatter. And that is why, if this is true, well, it is very difficult to prove or disprove this, but if this is true, this explains why we exist, why the universe exists, why stars, why the physics exist, right? So this is something which I wanted to discuss in the universe section today. If you have any thoughts, any comments, please share those in the comment section below. Thanks for joining live, and I will catch Friends, let us stop wasting 40% of our marketing budget on fragmented workflows. By applying the Vedic mathematical sutras to your B2B strategy, we can build a self-optimizing engine that eliminates creative friction instantly. Watch in this video how this ancient algorithm precision transforms erratic production into a predictable high velocity output architecture, delivering absolute operational excellence. So today we are going to break down why this modern marketing is failing to convert, and how the principles of mental agility, pattern recognition, and radical simplification can be applied to our business objectives. Discover how to move from brute force marketing to high speed strategic precision. Most B2B content strategy fail because they lack the geometric precision. We are re-engineering pipeline using the workflow to turn our production cycle into high-speed scaling engines. If you demand immediate ROI and move from chaotic cycles to predictable high-volume architecture, this synthesis of ancient math and modern distribution is your unfair advantage. Let's go and discuss this further. To build a self-optimizing scaling engine, a leader must shift from managing daily tasks to designing a point of reference system that functions with strategic precision. Drawing inspirations from the Shrestha, which is the distinguished individual who set the standard for others to follow in business. The goal is to create a hierarchy of consciousness where decisions making is rooted beyond the simple data and intellect. By integrating principles like nishkam karma, or action without desire for results, a CEO can focus on dedicated performance of duties and the structural integrity of the firm, while detaching their emotional self-worth from fluctuating marketing outcomes. This approach leverages the same mental agility found in the ancient computational logic to strip away the noise of the modern complexity, allowing the business to scale through radical simplification and high-speed strategic alignment. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now let's proceed further. Most B2B leaders are trapped in the platform adoption cycle. You create one great insight, then spend 10 hours manually watering it down for LinkedIn, another 5 for your YouTube, and 3 more for email, newsletter, etc. It's a brute force scaling, and that is why your growth feels like a heavy lift. Today we are basically borrowing a principle from Vedic math to fix this. It is called the let me translate in English. It says by one more than the previous one. So in math, it's a shortcut for squaring numbers. In strategy, it is the formula for a self-optimizing scaling engine. The formula doesn't start with content, it starts with a core strategic insight. Think of this like a base 10. In Vedic logic, you don't recreate the number every time you square it. You simply look at what comes before and add 1 to it. Your first step is to identify your Shrestha insight, which is the distinguished point of reference that defines your expertise. If you are a business consultant, your insight isn't how to sell, it might be the hierarchy of decision making. Once this core is solidified, we stop creating and start recursing. And here is how we apply the formula, which is insight plus 1. Instead of manual adaptation, you build a recursive system. And there are certain steps here. Step 1 is your core video or article is the previous one, right? That means you need to work on plus 1 part of it. Step 2 is system identifies the one more, the unique technical requirement of the next channel, like for example LinkedIn poll or Twitter thread or YouTube short, etc. Step 3 is instead of rewriting the system, extract the logic. So by applying this plus 1 more logic, you aren't managing 16 different channels. You are managing one engine that views each channel as a simple mathematical iteration of the original truth. And this is the Nishkam Karm in marketing. You focus on the dedicated performance of the core duty, and the result across the 16 channels become a calculated byproduct. So why 16? In Vedic math, we often work with 16 sutras. Imagine your scaling engine is a 4 by 4 grid. And so there are several things you can do actually with this. First is direct professional. Direct professionals can things like LinkedIn, newsletter, white paper, etc. You can also start working on the visual impact, which includes YouTube campaigns, Instagram, SlideShare, etc. You should also look at the real-time engagement like Twitter, threads, webinars, or internal/secondary initiatives like employee advocacy, client portals, and podcast. When the formula is automated using agentic AI or standardized framework, the engine takes your single core insight and calculates the one more needed for all 16 platforms simultaneously. You move from being a content creator to a strategic point of reference. The result is radical simplification. You stop being paralyzed by the outcome across every platform and start trusting the mathematical precisions of your system. You are no longer adapting to platforms. The platforms are adapting to your logic. And that is how you build a self-optimizing engine that scales while you focus on the next big shift. So in 2026, shift towards algorithmic oversight model makes a transition from manual content moderation to high-speed point of reference system that prioritize total brand integrity. By establishing a hierarchy of consciousness within the AI, these models move beyond simple data processing to ensure that every output aligns with the core strategy value of the firm. This structural approach allows leaders to apply the principle of Nishkam Karm, focusing on dedicated performance of the system's duty while detaching from the noise of individual platform fluctuations. Consequently, organizations can achieve a 10x increase in production speed using a recursive logic to scale a single core insight across 16 channels without sacrificing the Shrestha, which is a standard of quality. This radical simplification effectively dismantles the complexity trap transforming the CEO's role from the bottleneck of the manual approval to the architect of self-optimizing engines. To ensure the engine remains self-correcting, you must establish a feedback loop where each modular unit functions as a diagnostic sensor of the structural health of the next one. The system mirrors the hierarchy of consciousness, where the lower level data points are continuously refined by high level point of reference. To prevent the complexity trap, by treating every channel output as recursive calculation, applying the logic of one more than the previous one, the engine identifies the misalignment in real time, allowing for radical simplification rather than manual troubleshooting. This structural integrity ensures that as production speed increases by 10x, the brand's core value remains protected through automated algorithmic oversight. Ultimately, this feedback loop enables a leader to practice Nishkam Karma, focusing on the dedicated maintenance of the engine's architecture while the system itself handles the burden of self-optimization. By mastering these ancient principles of logic and efficiency, you transition from a participant to the complexity, a participant in the complexity trap to the architect of the high-speed self-optimizing system. And this approach ensures the strategic growth is not just rapid but also rooted in the structural integrity and precision required for the 2026 landscape. As you implement the Vedic engine, you fulfill the role of the Shrestha, establishing a point of reference that defines the standards for the global B2B excellence. Focus on the dedicated performance of the system and let the calculated results across your 16 channels speaks for themselves. So friends, we have come to the end. I am CK, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you and address any query, any opinion as well. See you in the next one. Before I close this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
For years, Anthropic Claude was known for as a conversational powerhouse on AI that could reason, that could assist, and also solve the complex tasks. But today, in 2026, the company has decided to redraw the boundaries of creativity. With the debut of Claude Design, Anthropic actually has stepped boldly into the visual arena, and where it offers the tool that transform and to the plain language into a polished and presentation prototype and marketing visual. This is not just another AI feature, but it is reimagination of how the idea takes shape. No templates, no plain Canvases are just words flowing into images. For entrepreneurs, for educators, and the creators, cloud design promises speed and accessibility. And for a design industry, it raises the questions about the originality and artistry and the role of human imagination in the era of machine learning, machine marketing, visual. So let's find out more about this.
For decades, the Indian nuclear sector was a forbidden fortress. It was state-run, shielded from private players, and largely close to the global capital. But in 2025, everything changed. The Atomic Energy Commission (AEC) just cleared a policy that effectively ends the nuclear isolation era by allowing up to 49% foreign direct investment, also known as FDI, in small modular reactor SMRs. India has fired, starting a pistol for a multi-billion-dollar race. Why now? Well, the world is hungry for carbon-free base load power, and India has world most ambitious energy roadmap. We aren't just talking about a few power plants. We're talking about a $200 billion shift. Today, we are breaking down the global investor from the US, France, and Russia are suddenly lining up at the India's door. So, friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's talk technology. Traditional nuclear plants are like massive cruise ships. They take 15 years to build and cost 10 billion or more. If one thing goes wrong, the whole project stalls. Small modular reactors, or the SMRs, are the speedboats and speedboats of the nuclear world. These are the reactors that produce between 77 megawatts and 300 megawatts of power. They are built in factories on the assembly lines and shipped to the site. India has introduced its own version, the Bharat Small Reactor, which is acronym for BSR. Why investors love them? They offer lower entry price. Instead of risking $10 billion, a private company can partner with the Nuclear Power Corporation of India to build a modular unit for a fraction of the cost. So it has speed of delivery. Definitely, you can actually go from groundbreaking to grid connected in about 5 years. For an investor, faster construction means a faster return on investment. The real magic happened in the boardroom. The Indian government passed the Shanti Act of 2025. This wasn't just another law, it was a legal bridge. Before this, foreign companies were terrified of Indian civil liability laws. If there was an accident, the supplier could be sued into bankruptcy. The new policy provider, in fact, clears a framework for risk sharing between Indian state and the foreign investor. By allowing 49% FDI, India is saying, we want your tech and we want your cash, but we will keep the keys to the security of the facility. Therefore, the balance of 51% will be state control and 49% will be private investment. And that is why this is a sweet spot. And that has a global giant like Holtec International, GE, Hitachi dusting off their blueprints for Indian soil. The investment isn't just about technology, it's about demand. Indian economy is booming, and definitely it's also growing by leaps and bounds. And the rest of the world can only dream of at that kind of speed India is moving forward. We are building gigafactories for EVs, massive data centers for AI, and huge green hydrogen hubs. All these things have one thing in common. India needs 24/7 power. Solar and wind are great, but they don't work when the sun goes down and the wind stops, right? So SMRs are being pitched as the captive power sources. Imagine massive steel plants in Odisha or a tech park in Bengaluru having its own dedicated SMR right next door. Investors see this industrial demand as the guaranteed revenue stream. It is not just selling power to the grid, it is powering the future of the global manufacturing. Now let's talk about the long game. India has the world's largest reserve of thorium, believe it or not. The traditional reactors runs on uranium, which India has to import. But thorium, we have enough of it in our beaches to power the country for centuries. And what is the catch here? There's always a catch, right? You cannot just put thorium in a standard reactor. You need a breeder process. So SMRs are perfect test bed for this. By inviting FDIs into SMRs, India is accelerating its three-stage nuclear program. The global investors provide capital today for uranium-based SMRs are essentially helping build the infrastructure that will eventually run on thorium. It's a transition that could make India the OPEC of the 22nd century. So why are the global investors eyeing India at this point in time? It is a perfect storm of the clear policy, which is based on FDI, proven demand, which is the industrial growth, and the futuristic tech, which is based on thorium. India's goal is to hit 100 gigawatt of nuclear power by 2047. It's a massive mountain to climb, but for the first time, India isn't climbing it alone. With global capital and private innovation now in the mix, the atomic age of India hasn't just arrived. It is actually going to get onto overdrive. So friends, what do you think? Is opening nuclear power to foreign investment is a master stroke for energy independence or a risky move? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the tech and policy that is shaping India's future. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one. Before I leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, most welcome and namaskaram. Let me ask you today, let me break the ice by asking you a very profound question. Is the hustle culture actually holding your business back? In this video, we explore how a 5,000-year-old principle from Bhagavad Gita are the secret to the modern executive excellence. We break down why the true leadership starts with the mind, not just the market. We will discover why a disciplined CEO is the only one who can navigate the volatility with clear intelligence and sustainable peace. If you are a leader looking to transition from reactive management to the mindful strategic control, this video is for you. Let us go and discuss this further. So, friends, if you are a CEO or a leader, you always know the feeling. It's late in the night, it's probably 9 p.m., and you have been busy in back to back meetings since 7 a.m. Your inbox is overflowing, the Slack messaging is buzzing, and the market is volatile. You are moving fast, but are you moving forward fast enough? We live in an age of hyper hustle. We are taught that the only way to scale is to do more and much faster. But as many of you have discovered, speed without direction is just a chaos. When your mind is scattered, your strategy becomes reactive, and when your strategy is reactive, your business plateaus. What if I told you that secret to multi-billion-dollar boardroom breakthrough wasn't a new piece of technology, but a piece of ancient logic? Today we are decoding a verse from Bhagavad Gita, which is mentioned in chapter 2, verse 66, that act as a master class in leadership and discipline. It's not about philosophy, it is a framework for competitive advantage. The verse is profound in its simplicity. It says, and the quote starts, an undisciplined person has no clear intelligence, and without the intelligence, there is no power of contemplation. Without the contemplation, there is no peace. And without the peace, where can there be no happiness? Let's dismantle this in business terms in a cascading equation. First is discipline. Without it, you lose focus. Next is intelligence. Without focus, you lose your ability to analyze, foresee, and also pivot. Peace. Without that clarity, you lose your composure. Happiness, happiness can be a result also. Without composure, you cannot build a sustainable winning culture. In the corporate world, we usually prioritize intelligence as raw IQ, data, and analytics. But the Gita suggests that the intelligence is useless if you lack the discipline to control your own mind. If you are hijacked by every market swing, every competitor's move, or every internal crisis, you aren't leading, you're just reacting. Think about that, the last major crisis your company faced. Did you make your best decisions in the height of the panic, or in the moment where you stepped back, breathed, and regained your composure? True discipline in business isn't about working 80 hours a week. It's about sensory control. In our current world, our senses are under attack 24/7. Notification, news, emails, they are all trying to hijack your attention. When your attention is fragmented, your intelligence, your ability to see the big picture evaporates. The disciplined leader act like the eye of the hurricane. The storm is swirling around them, which is the market, the employees, and the investor, but the leader remains still. This stillness is not passive, it is a highly active strategic state of mind. When you are disciplined, you cultivate clear intelligence. You stop chasing trends and start identifying structural opportunities. You stop reacting to noise and start responding to signals. That is how the ancient wisdom fuels modern success. It transforms you from a manager of chaos into architect of growth. So, friends, how do we apply this in C-suite tomorrow morning? And here are the 3 ways to practice this discipline. First, strategic silence. And in other words, you can call it morning audit. Spend first 15 minutes of your day without input. No phones, no news, no emails. Your brain needs to reset its baseline. This is where your intelligence recovers from the previous day's noise. Number 2, the pause protocol. Before you even react to an urgent email or a negative Slack message, create a forced delay. Even 60 seconds of breathing shift you from a reactive fear-based brain to the prefrontal cortex, the strategic logical brain. That 60 second could be the difference between a rash decision and a legacy defining move. And number three is define your true north. The Gita emphasizes contemplation. Are you contemplating your vision, or are you just managing your inbox? Set a weekly deep think, no output, just thinking. Contemplation is the filter for your intelligence. The final part of the verse says, without peace, there can be no happiness. We often think happiness or in business, high morale or retention is a byproduct of high pay or a nice perk. But it starts with the CEO. If the leader is anxious, the culture is also anxious. If the leader is disciplined and peaceful, the culture becomes stable, reliable, and capable of sustaining growth. The ancient wisdom isn't a retreat from the modern world. It is the fuel that allows you to be master of the modern situation. You don't need to be less ambitious. You need to be more centered. Discipline your mind, sharpen your intelligence, find your peace, and watch how everything else, things like revenue, culture, and your own satisfaction begins to fall in place. So, friends, if you found this breakdown useful, I want to hear from you. What is that one thing you do to protect your focus in the middle of a crisis? Drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into leadership and wisdom. Lead with clarity, and I will see you again in the next one. Hello friends, did you know that NASA is officially moving beyond the chemical rockets? In this video, we dive deep into the revolutionary nuclear thermal propulsion (NTP) technology that is set to slash travel time to red planet. Imagine a future where Mars isn't a grueling 7 months journey, but a weekend trip in comparison to everything we have known about the space exploration. Let us explore this further. So for 60 years, we have been stuck. Every time we look at Mars, we are staring at a 7 to 9 months commute between Earth and Mars. That isn't just a long time; it is dangerous time. Every day, every day in deep space is another day of the cosmic radiation, muscle atrophy, and the psychological toll of the isolation. But what if we could break that speed limit of space travel? What if we could treat the journey to the red planet not in months, not in years, but in few days, right? Like a weekend trip in comparison to the current tech. NASA has just officially crossed the Rubicon with the announcement of SR1 Freedom and a roadmap of 2028. The era of chemical rocket is ending. Today we are looking at the nuclear engine that are finally turning science fiction into an interplanetary reality. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, moving on. To understand the future, we have to look at why we cannot reach at this point in time, and currently why it is slow. Our best rockets today are chemical combustion. We all know that liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. They are very powerful, but they are incredibly inefficient. Think of it like this. A chemical rocket is like a high performance dragster. It's a massive oomph at the start, but it burns through its fuel in minutes. Once you are in orbit, you are basically a glider. By switching to nuclear, we aren't just adding more fuel, we are doubling the energy we get out of every gram of the propellant. So how does a nuclear engine actually works? Unlike the nuclear power in a plant on Earth basically that makes electricity, a nuclear thermal rocket NTR is much more direct, and it has several components starting with core. We have a compact fission reactor using high assay low enriched uranium, right? And it then create energy, which then send it to the nozzle, etc. And therefore we have to talk about the propellant. We pump the liquid hydrogen through the white hot core reactor, and then it basically comes out of the other side at very high speed. So now we have to talk about expansion. In less than a second, the hydrogen goes from minus 420 degrees Fahrenheit to 5000 degrees Fahrenheit, which then creates a huge thrust. So now let's talk about this thrust. The superheated gas streams out of the nozzle at a speed no chemical fire could ever reach. This is the holy grail of the propulsion. It gives us the high thrust of a rocket with a very long-term efficiency of an electric drive. We are currently in the pivotal year. As of April 2026, the design is right now on the drawing table. However, there is a roadmap, and that is June 2026. The final hardware development begins, and the mission will be SR1. It's a design as a nuclear electric hybrid. It uses the reactor to generate massive amount of electricity, powering high efficiency thruster to basically increase the speed. And it can run for months, it can go for very long time. And what is the goal? The goal is a direct mass mission capability by 2028. This isn't just a lab experiment anymore. We are building the flight hardware right now. So when we say weekend trip, we are talking about relative transit time. By cutting the journey to Mars from 250 days down to 100 or even 60 days, we solve the two biggest threats to human life. Number one is radiation. Less time spent in the void, which is open space, lower the dose of the solar particles or any cosmic radiation. Number two is the abort capability. Nuclear engines allow us to turn around or change course. Well, in a chemical rocket, once you are on your path, you are committed. Nuclear gives the pilot a steering wheel. Our multi-planetary future, which is to the stars, will have, will always remain a dream if we do not have faster mode of transport. We just don't have the engine to reach them. Why, right? So if we want to go to other worlds, other stars, we need faster mode of transport. So with the breakthrough that we are going to see in 2026, the gap between Earth and Mars is finally closing. We are no longer limited by how much fire we can make. We are now limited only by our ambition to explore. So friends, we have come to the end of our discussion today. My name is CK and you are watching Akulmach. And if you want to stay on the cutting edge of the Artemis era and the nuclear revolution, hit that subscribe button, and the future is arriving faster than you think. So before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
The universe has always carried secrets in silence, but sometimes silence trembles. When black hole collides, they send ripples across space-time, gravitational wave that race through the cosmos like a faint echo of creation itself. For decades, these waves were thought to be mere messenger of cosmic violence. Yet now, the hidden within their rhythm, scientists believe that they may have uncovered something far more profound and the elusive fingerprint of dark matter. Dark matter, the invisible weight that binds galaxies together, has long been the phantom of physics, felt but never seen, and in theory never touched. And now that through the subtle distortion in space-time music, it may finally be whispering its presence. Imagine the cosmos itself humming within the hidden chorus, a song carried not by the light but by gravity's most delicate thread. And that is the story unfolding today, the possibility that the gravitational waves are not just echoes of collisions, but for the first time, the audible clues to the shadowing substance that shape our universe. So let's find out more. In the vast silence of cosmos, there are whispers too faint for human ear, yet powerful enough to reshape our understanding of reality. Among these whispers are gravitational waves, ripple in space-time born from the violent collisions of black holes and neutron stars. For years, the scientists have listened to these waves as a messenger of cataclysm of event, but now they may be carrying a deeper secret and evidence of dark matter itself. So, going forward, the dark matter has long been the phantom of physics. It does not shine, it does not absorb, it does not scatter light. It is invisible, detectable only through its gravitational pull on galaxies and clusters. We know its existence because the cosmos behave as if the weight down by an unseen mass. Yet, despite decades of searching, no particle detectors has captured it. No telescope has revealed its glow, and it has remained in a shadow, elusive and untouchable. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, going forward about these waves, but gravitational waves offer a new lens. When two black hole spiral together and merge, the wave that they emit carry the imprint of everything in their environment. If the dark matter surrounds them, if it pools in the halos or the clumps near their event horizons, its presence subtly alter the rhythm of the collision. The wave stretch differently and the frequency shift. The echoes linger longer than expected. These deviations are faint, buried in noise, but with the sensitive detectors like Virgo and Kagra, the scientists are beginning to tease them, listen them, and bring the information out. Recent analysis suggests that some recorded signals cannot be explained by ordinary physics alone. The pattern hint at an invisible partner tugging at the dance of a black hole and dark matter interacting not through the light but through the gravity's most delicate thread. Imagine two massive black holes colliding and their spiral slowed ever so lightly by the halo of unseen particles. And the resulting wave carries that story across the billions of light years and arriving at Earth as a faint tremor in space-time. If confirmed, this would revolutionary. This will be definitely revolutionary. It would mean that the dark matter is not merely a passive backdrop, but an active participant in the cosmic drama. It would provide the first direct evidence of its distribution around compact objects, offering clues to its nature, whether it is made of exotic particles, primordial black holes, or something stranger still. And that we have to really find out. We have to look towards the physicists for their new findings. The implication ripple outward. Dark matter may influence how galaxies form, how stars die, and how the universe itself evolve. So, by mapping its fingerprints in gravitational waves, scientists could chart its hidden architecture, tracing the invisible presence upon which the cosmos is built. It is as if we are learning to read a secret language written into space-time itself. For the layperson, the idea is both haunting and very exciting. We live in a universe where most of the matter is unseen, yet it shapes everything we know. Now, through the faintest vibrations of space-time, we may finally be hearing its voice. So, dark matter, once silent, is actually beginning to speak through the music of colliding black holes. So, as detectors grow more sensitive and the data accumulates, the whisper will become clearer. Each new gravitational wave may carry another clue, another brush stroke in the portrait of invisible. And in that portrait lies the possibility of solving one of the greatest mysteries of modern science. And that is, what is a dark matter that binds the universe together? The journey is far from over, but the path has been illuminated. Gravitational waves are no longer just echoes of cosmic violence, they are the guides into unseen thread leading to us towards the shady heart of existence. The search for the dark matter has always been felt like chasing a shadow across the star. Yet now, through the faint tremors of space-time, the shadow begins to take form. The gravitational waves are no longer just echoes of cosmic collision. They are becoming the voice of invisible, the rhythm of unseen, and each ripple carries us closer to unveiling the hidden universe, and where the dark matter silently shapes galaxies, stars, and destiny of creation itself. Perhaps the greatest revelation is not that we are finally hearing the dark matter, but that the universe has been singing all along. We simply need to learn how to listen. So now we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe our channel and see you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Friends, the question today is, as wealth grows, do men decay? Well, some people say they do. Today, we will dive deep into the paradox of progress and the hidden cost of wealth accumulation. In this compelling video, we will explore the psychological, moral, and the social changes that can occur as the men gain wealth and power. Let's go. We live in a world that glorifies the wealth. From the moment we are old enough to understand, we are taught that success, comfort, and happiness are often measured by the size of our bank account. We chase promotions, dream of bigger houses, covet the latest tech, and all under the assumption that more is always better. But what if that wasn't entirely true? What if beneath the shimmering surface of the prosperity there is a hidden cost, a silent erosion that impacts the very core of who we are, especially for men as well as for women? Today we are going to ask a provocative, perhaps even unsettling question: as the wealth grows, do men decay? When we talk about decay, we are not just talking about the physical aspect of it. This isn't about aging. It's about something deeper. It's about the erosion of the character, the fading of the purpose, the fracturing of the genuine connection. It's about the hollowness that creep in even as the external success reaches its peak. For centuries, men have been conditioned to be a provider, protector, conquerors, etc. Our identity often intrinsically linked to our ability to achieve and acquire. So when that acquisition reaches unprecedented levels, what happens to the man himself? Does the very fuel that drives the man, the ambitious for generating wealth, ultimately consumes the man? We are not here to demonize the wealth. Far from it. Wealth can be a tool for good, for freedom, for impact, but like any other powerful tool, it demands respect, awareness, and a clear understanding of the potential pitfalls. Think about the traditional male identity. Historically, it was often forged in the purpose, building, creating, providing, etc. A man's worth was in his contribution, his skill, his character. But in the modern pursuit of wealth, particularly extreme wealth, identity can subtly shift. Instead of driving self-worth from who they are or what they do, it can become dangerously tied to what they own. The endless pursuit of more can create a hamster wheel. You buy the dream car, a bigger house, a private jet. For a moment, there is a thrill, but then the novelty wears off and the void remains. The next logical step is to acquire something even grander. This isn't sustainable. It transforms a man from a purposeful being into a consumer, an accumulator. The drive shifts from internal fulfillment to the external validation. And when your identity is built on possessions, what happens when those possessions inevitably fail to satisfy or worse, are lost? One of the most insidious form of decay that wealth can inflict is in our own relationship. Genuine connections, intimacy, vulnerability, these are the foundation of the true human flourishing. But wealth can act as an isolation chamber. Firstly, the sheer demand of acquiring and maintaining wealth often means sacrificing time with family, with friends, with community, long hours, constant travel, endless strategizing. These can create physical and emotional distances. Secondly, Wealth can breed suspicion. Is this person genuinely interested in me, or in what I can do for them? Are they my friend or my access point? This constant questioning can make genuine vulnerability incredibly difficult, leading to a guarded existence. Thirdly, the lifestyle associated with extreme wealth can be exclusive. It can separate men from their roots, from the everyday experience that fosters empathy and connection with the wider world. When your circle shrinks to only those who share your specific, often insular economic reality, you lose touch with the richness and the diversity of the human experience. This social decay leaves men feeling profoundly alone even when surrounded by others. Human beings, and men in particular, often thrives on challenge, on purpose, on overcoming obstacles. There is a certain edge that comes from striving, from feeling the grit of the struggle. It forges resilience, gratitude, and a deeper appreciation for achievement. But when wealth removes all obstacles, when every need is immediately met and every comfort is readily available, that edge can dull the shine of your life. The drive to create, to innovate, to even feel deeply can be replaced by a passive acceptance of ease. Why build when you can buy? Why strive when you can simply command? This isn't to say comfort is inherently bad, but unchecked, it can become a crutch that prevents growth. It can lead to state of a sort of emptiness, a profound boredom that even greatest luxuries cannot remove. The man becomes soft, not physically but spiritually. He loses the internal, strength built by facing adversities. The path to immense wealth is rarely a straight line. It often presents choices, difficult dilemmas, where moral integrity can be tested. In the pursuit of profit, ethical lines can become blurred, shortcuts are often taken, compromises are made, and suddenly the means to begin to justify the end, no matter how questionable they are. This isn't about blaming wealthy individuals, but acknowledging a systemic pressure. When stakes are high and the potential rewards are astronomically very high, and temptation to bend the rules is higher, to exploit the loopholes or to neglect the human cost of business decisions can be immense. Over time, these small compromises can accumulate, eroding a men's moral compass. What was once unthinkable becomes unacceptable, or rather acceptable, and then it becomes absolutely normal. The decay here is in the spirit, in the values that once defined the man. When a man loses his ethical grounding, he loses a fundamental part of his humanity. Wealth can create powerful illusions of control. The belief that money can solve every problem, protect against every threat, and guarantee a certain future. This can lead to hubris, a sense of invincibility that blind men to their own vulnerability and unpredictable nature of life. But beneath this illusion often lies a profound fear, the fear of loss. The more you have it, the more you have to lose. The constant pressure to maintain, to grow, to protect assets can be a source of immense anxiety. This fear can consume mental space, leading to an inability to truly relax, to be present, or to simply enjoy what has been accumulated. This isn't just about financial loss, it's about the loss of identity tied to that particular wealth, the loss of status, the loss of perceived power. This fear can lead to desperate measures, further ethical compromises, and overall sense of unease, even in the midst of the luxury. It's a mental decay, a constant state of low grade panic, regardless of external circumstances. So, if the potential for decay is real, how do we reverse it? How do we cultivate growth even amidst immense wealth? It starts with awareness and intention. Recognize that wealth is a tool, not an identity. It's about consciously choosing where to focus your energy and attention. Re-establish purpose beyond profit. Find meaning in contribution, in creation, in legacy that isn't just about monetary value. What problems can you solve? What goods can you foster? Prioritize genuine connections. Actively invest time and vulnerability in your relationships. Seek out authentic friendships. Nurture family bonds and engage with diverse communities. Embrace discomfort and growth. Don't let comfort breed stagnation. Seek out new challenges, learn new skills, push your boundaries in a way that aren't tied to financial gains. Cultivate gratitude and mindfulness. Appreciate what you have rather than constantly striving for what you lack. Practice mindfulness to stay present and connect to the richness of everyday life. Define your value and live them. Regularly assess your actions against your core values. By willing to make it harder, more ethical choices, even if it means sacrificing short-term gains. Wealth in itself is neutral. It is the human response to it, the choice we make, the value we hold, that determine its ultimate impact. The question is, as wealth grows, do men decay? Isn't meant to be condemn a success or glory of the rich man, but to invite deeper introspection. It is a reminder that the true prosperity isn't just about what you accumulate, but about you become what you become in the process. The greatest riches a man can possess are not found in the vaults, but in the character, his relationships, his purpose, and his peace of mind. Let us strive not just for financial growth, but for human flourishing. Let us use wealth as a means to build a richer life, not a hollow one. Because in the end, the only thing that truly decays is which is neglected. And let us not neglect the men who we are in the pursuit of wealth as we desire. So, friends, I'd like to know if you have any comments, any suggestions, or any questions. Please leave them in the comment section below, and I will catch you again in the next one.
In the dawn of Vedic age, when human curiosity first turned towards the stars and the mystery of fire, one sage stood at the crossroad of spirituality and science. So we are talking about Rishi Angira. He became a pioneer of knowledge system that shaped Indian knowledge system and the thought that stayed for millennia. Angiras looked at fire not merely as a ritual but as a very essence of energy, transformative, purifying, and eternal. He listened to the sound not only as a chant but as a scientific medium, a carrier of wisdom across generation. He gazed the cosmos and saw order, symmetry, and proportion, principle that would echo in maths and astronomy long after his time. And above all, he taught that the body, mind, and universe were not separate realms, but a reflection of one harmonious whole. And in 2026, the contribution of Rishi Angira feels more relevant than ever because his teachings sit at the intersection of science, philosophy, and holistic living, exactly where the modern society is searching for balance. In the vast tapestry of India's spiritual and intellectual heritage, few figures stand out as bright as Rishi Angira. Counted among the Saptarishi, he was not only a seer of divine truth, but also a pioneer where the insight laid the foundation of astronomy and mathematics, and definitely the sound and how to actually handle the sound, and the holistic philosophy. His legacy reminds us that the root of science and spirituality in India are deeply intertwined. So, Angira is often described as the sage of fire. In Rig Veda, his hymn of Agni reveals a profound understanding of fire, not merely a physical phenomena, but as a universal principle of energy, transformation, and purification. Fire consume and transform, and also that. So it transform into kind of a energy, and it also into purifying, and in this whole process a renew idea that resonate with the modern science notion of energy conservation and thermodynamics. For Angira, the Agni or the fire was both a deity and a metaphor. The eternal flame that linked the material world with the cosmic order. His vision of fire as energy linked to the transformation and purification, and that even resonate today also, and we that also focus on renewable energy and sustainable practices. So Angira reminds us that the energy is not just a resource, but a principle of harmony. So today we are keen regarding energy and sustainability, aren't we? So, but Angira's vision extended far beyond fire. He was deeply engaged with the cosmos and observing the star and the cycle of time. His association with the Rishi constellation reflect the Vedic tradition of linking sage to celestial bodies. In this way, Angira helped establish astronomy not merely as a tool, but for a ritual, but a science of cosmos rhythm. His teaching emphasized that the heavens were not a distinct mystery, but a living pattern guiding human life. Now in 2026, with the space exploration and AI-driven astronomy advancing rapidly, his emphasis on cosmos rhythm and the cycle offers a philosophical ground, and seeing the universe not as a chaos, but as an order pattern we have learned from. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. That will that will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So going forward on Angira, perhaps his most enduring contribution was in the realm of sound and knowledge transmission. So Angira recognized that the sound or shabd, that's what we call in Hindi, was and they are actually more vibration. It's more a vibration, and it has a scientific medium for preserving and transmitting the wisdom. In the age before the writing, he developed the method of oral transmission that relied on rhythm, repetition, and precise articulation. And this system ensured that the Veda could be memorized and passed down flawlessly across a generation. So, in a modern term, Angira pioneered into science of memory, science of sound, and blending linguistic and phonics and the pedagogy into one. And even now in the age of digital communication, Angira's recognition of sound or shabd, that's what we call in Hindi, as a scientific medium, and that mirrors how we use data transmission today. His oral method of preserving knowledge and anticipating the importance of precision is definitely very much relevant in information system. So his hymn also reveal a fascinating with order, symmetry and proportion. So ritual were not a random act but a carefully measured sequences reflecting mathematical precision, and this emphasis on structure influenced later in Indian tradition in maths, and where the proportion and the balance became the guiding principle. So in Angira's worldwide view, the maths was not an abstract, it was a language of harmony, in a way the mirror the cosmos into human practice. His focus on order, symmetry and proportion aligned with the modern mathematics and coding and design thinking, where the structure and the balance are essential for innovation. So equally important was his teaching on balance between body, mind and cosmos. So Angira saw human being as a microcosmos of universe. Just as a fire purifies and a star guide, so too our individual alignment in their inner energy of us and yours inner energies with the rhythm of nature. So this holistic vision foreshadowed the Ayurveda and other Indian science that emphasize equilibrium as the key of health and wisdom. Perhaps most importantly, his teaching that body, mind, and cosmos must remain in equilibrium and speaks directly to 2026 challenges of mental health and environment crisis and technological actually the overload. So taken together, Angira's contribution form a remarkable legacy. He gave us the vision of fire as an energy, astronomy as a cosmic order, sound as a scientific transmission, and mathematics as a symmetry, and philosophy as a balance. So his work reminds us that science, spirituality were never separate in Vedic age. They were two sides of one quest for truth. So as we look back and as we analyze the teaching of Angira, though in that context, Angira emerged not only as a sage but as scientist of soul and cosmos. His insights continue to inspire, urge us to see the universe not as a collection of isolated phenomena, but as a living, ordered whole. In his hymn, we hear the echoes of timeless truth that knowledge, whether spiritual or scientific, is a flame meant to illuminate, transform, and guide humanity towards harmony with the cosmos. So in Vedic dawn, the Angira lit the flame of knowledge, of science, where the fire becomes energy, sound becomes knowledge, and cosmos becomes order. So in the end, Rishi Angira emerged not as a sage of Vedic age, but a visionary who saw science and spirituality as two currents of same river. His hymn to fire reveals the energy as a principle of transformation and purification. His devotion to sound gave humanity a flawless system of oral knowledge transmission, ensuring the wisdom echo across the centuries. And his fascination with symmetry and proportions seeded the spirit of mathematics, while his gaze at the star aligned human life with the cosmos rhythm. What Angira taught us was simple yet profound. The body, the mind, and the cosmos are not separate realm, but reflection of the same kind of alignment, same as a kind of living, the way of living actually. So when we go forward about his teaching, I would also request you to send us the comments what you think, and if you want to add something on this in this context, please, we welcome your comments. So his vision was knowledge was not a possession but a flame meant to illuminate, purify, and guide. As we look back today, his legacy reminds us that the true wisdom lies in the balance and between energy, order, and between sound and silence, between the human and the cosmos. So please send, as I was requesting you, send your comments on this subject, and also please subscribe our channel for more insights to Indian spirituality, mythology. So see you in the next one. But before we end, few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready, comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सबका स्वागत है। आज जुलाई 23 है और आज बृहस्पतिवार है, थर्सडे। तो आज का दिन आप सब जानते हैं कि भगवान विष्णु के लिए समर्पित होता है। तो आज हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे भगवान विष्णु की वंदना करके, स्तुति करके। तो एक छोटा सा मंत्र है जो भगवान विष्णु के लिए हम रिसाइट करेंगे। आप भी हमारे साथ जुड़िए और इस मंत्र को रिसाइट करिए। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। पहले अपने हाथ जोड़ लीजिए और भगवान जी को याद करिए और उनका नमन करते हैं। अब हम आंख बंद करके 11 दफ़ा इस मंत्र का उच्चारण करना है। मंत्र मैं पहले बता देता हूँ। ओम वासुदेवाय नमः। बहुत ही आसान है। ओम वासुदेवाय नमः। चलिए अब हाथ जोड़ लीजिए, हम शुरुआत करते हैं। ओम वासुदेवाय नमः। 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 तो दोस्तों, हमारी आज की जो स्तुति है, जो पूजा है, वो समाप्त हुई। तो अब आपसे विदा लेते हैं इस वीडियो में, लेकिन जल्दी ही मिलते हैं दूसरे वीडियो में। आपका दिन शुभ रहे, इसी कामना के साथ नमस्कार।
Twilight chambers of bat caves. Science listens to the whispers carried on wings. Each flutter is more than a movement. It is a messenger of hidden viral world evolving in silence yet capable of reshaping human history. These caves are ecological crossroads where bats, viruses, and environment is intertwined in a delicate balance. Deep inside the humid darkness of Bat Cave, science finds a living lab where the ecology, virology, and human destiny intersects. Bats, with their extraordinary diversity and a global distribution, are reservoir of countless viruses, many harmless within their host, but some with the potential to leap across the species boundaries. The study of virus ecology in these caves is not simply an exercise in curiosity, it is a frontline defense against the next pandemic. Researchers entering these caves are greeted by a symphony of wings and echoes, but beneath the spectacle lies a complex web of interactions. Viruses circulate among bat population through social grooming, shared routes, and feeding habits. Each colony become a microcosm of viral exchange, and where the genetic material mutates, recombines, and occasionally acquired the traits that makes cross-species infection possible. By observing these dynamics, scientists gained predictive insight into zoonotic spillover, the moment when the pathogen jumps from animals to humans. And these recent fieldwork has revealed that a spillover risk is not random. It is shaped by ecological pressures, food scarcity, or maybe driving bats closer to human settlement, seasonal migration, concentration of the population, and environmental stress, weakening the immune defenses. So in these caves, the near agricultural zone, bats often we find them in fruit orchids and leaving salivas, droppings that can actually contaminate the produce. So such ecological bridges create pathways for virus to escape from their natural host. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us in determining the reach of our channel. So moving forward on this interesting topic, the bat cave thus become a metaphor for a porous boundary between wilder habitat and the civilization. By squeezing viral genomes and collecting them from the salivas and other material which is like droppings, scientists can map evolutionary trajectories, and identifying which strain show sign of adapting to mammalian cells beyond bats. So these molecular fingerprints act as warning signals, allowing public health agencies to monitor the hot spots before outbreak occurs. So equally important are the behavioral observations. Like high definition footage of bat feeding, clustering, and interacting with other species reveals how viral transmission is facilitated. So in one study, the camera captures bats feasting alongside with the primates and rodent, creating a shared ecological niche where the pathogen could easily cross species line. And such insight underscores that the spillover is not merely a biological event, but an ecological one woven into a fabric of shared habitat. The implication definitely ripple outward. So understand a virus ecology in bat's cave inform the predictive model that integrates climate change and deforestations and urban expansion, which is definitely on high at the moment. Now, as forests shrink, the caves are disturbed. Bats are forced into a closer contact with human, amplifying the risk. So, by stimulating these scenarios, scientists can forecast where and when spillover is most likely and guiding surveillance and intervention strategies. They can work on that, these kind of strategies. Yet, the narratives is not one of the fear alone. So, bats are vital pollinators, you know that, and insect controllers. So essential to definitely essential to ecosystem. Now, when we demonize them and would be like counterproductive. So instead, the lesson from the virus ecology is balance. Protecting bad habitats reduce stress on population, thereby lowering the viral shedding and minimizing the human exposure. So conservation becomes a form of public health. So in a broader arc of science, the bat caves is a reminder that pandemic are ecological phenomena before they become actually a medical crisis. So by listening to these whispers of wings in the dark, humanity gains foresight into the invisible currents of viral evolution. The caves teaches us that the vigilance must be ecological and behavioral all at once. So, thus, the study of virus ecology is bats in the bats cave is not confined to academic genres. It is a story of anticipation, resilience, and interconnectionness. Now, these insight helps predict zoonotics spillover risk, offering humanity a chance to act before the next leap occurs. So, in the shadow of the caves, science illuminates pathway to of prevention and turning potential catastrophe into knowledge and knowledge into preparedness. From the echoes in the dark to insight in the lab, the bat caves teaches vigilance. So, and protecting habitats, decoding viral patterns, and respecting the ecological balance are not just act of science; they are act of survival. Now, the bat cave, once seen as a mysterious refuge of night, now stands revealed or as a vital classroom for humanity. Now, within these shadows, viruses evolve, adapt, and remind us of the fragile thread that binds ecosystem together. So, by decoding these hidden exchanges, the scientists are not merely studying the bats; they are safeguarding the future of human health. The lesson is very clear. Pandemics are born at the intersection of ecology and society, and the prevention begins with the understanding. Protecting habitats, respecting biodiversity, and listening to the signals of nature are the act of foresight. So, in the quiet echoes of caves, we find both warning and wisdom. An urgent call to balance our relationship with the natural world before the next leap occurs. So, we would look forward your comments, what you think about this subject. And we have come to the end. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe our channel. See you in the next one. But before we end this video, a few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Before the robotic arms and the AI entered the operation theater, a healer in ancient India was already reshaping the future of medicine. Sushruta, the legendary father of surgery, carved his legacy not with the medicines but with wisdom, precision, and compassion. In Sushruta Samhita, he described rhinoplasty, cataract surgery, and anatomy with astonishing details. Centuries ahead of his time, and in today 2026, as medicine balance in innovation with ethics, his voice echoes across the millennia. Let's find out more about him. In the annals of medical history, few names shines as bright as Sushruta, the ancient Indian physician whose vision and practice earned him the title of Father of Surgery. So, living around the 6th century BCE in Kashi, the modern Varanasi, Sushruta was more than a healer. He was teacher, he was philosopher and innovator who believed medicine was a sacred duty rooted in compassion and discipline. His legacy, preserved in Sushruta Sahita, continues to resonate even in 2026 as the world seeks balance between cutting edge technology and holistic care. Sushruta Samhita is monumental text spanning 186 chapters covering surgery, anatomy, pharmacy and pediatrics, taxology and prevention medicines. Within its page, Sushruta described surgical techniques that astonish modern readers also, like rhinoplasty using skin flaps, cataract surgeries by lens removal, and lithotomy for bladder stones and obesities, a procedure to save mothers, especially in critical conditions. He catalogs over 300 bones, 700 vessels, and a wide array of surgical instruments. So, demonstrating a mastery of anatomy that was centuries ahead of its time. His insistence on hygiene, diets, and lifestyle as pillar of health foreshadows even the modern preventive medicines. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, going forward on this wonderful topic, Sushruta's contribution was not merely technical. He emphasized on ethics, compassion, and the morality of responsibilities of physicians. So, in an age where the artificial intelligence and robotics are entering in operating rooms, his reminder that the healing is both science and art, and that feels especially both the things combination and the field definitely you will also agree is very urgent even in 2026. Technology may enhance precision, but the human touch, empathy, respect, and ethical judgment remains irreplaceable. In 2026, Sushruta's relevance is striking. As reconstructive surgery advances, his pioneer in rhinoplasty techniques are recognized as a procedure to modern plastic surgery. As integrative medicines gains traction, his holistic approach, combining such surgery with Ayurveda, diets, and lifestyle, offers a model for sustainable healthcare. And as a global health system grapples with the pandemics, lifestyle diseases, and ethical dilemmas, his vision of medicines as moral duty provides timeless guidance. So, Sushruta's life reminds us that innovation is not only about inventions but about foresight. He anticipated the need for structured surgical training, insisting that students practice on watermelon or animal carcasses before operating on human. As a principle, echoes even today's medical simulations. He saw the physician of past, but a living lesson for the future. So, definitely, and this is something, his legacy is not definitely we should read, we should appreciate, and we should also follow the footstep what he has put across for human development, human health development. So his legacy, as I said, is not definitely a relic. It's a living compass pointing us towards future where the healing is both precise and compassion. So we have come to end of this interesting topic. I will request you to like and subscribe our channel and look forward for your comments on this topic. See you in the next one. But before we end this live video, a few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, welcome once again. The biggest question in the boardroom today is the CEO or the leadership burnout. And it's becoming a very big problem in the 21st century, especially in 2026. So let me ask you, can ancient wisdom solve the 21st century burnout crisis? Therefore, in this video, we dive deep into Bhagavad Gita to uncover the secret weapon of the world's most effective CEOs, the inward gaze. While most leadership training focuses on the external strategy, the Gita teaches that the true power comes from the internal mastery. Let us explore this further. Friends, close your eyes for a second, but not that long, because you got a company to run. Think about your morning. How many notifications did you get before you wake up, right? So as you waking up, you see so many notifications in your email, right? A market dip in Asia, a key hire resignation, a competitor's aggressive new acquisition. As a CEO, your mind is battlefield. You are expected to be most external person in the organization, watching the charts, the people and the future as well. But what if I told you that the most successful leaders in history, the one who remain unshakable when the ship is sinking, don't look outward for their primary strategy. They actually look inwards. Today we are decoding 7,000-year-old blueprint for executive excellence. It comes from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 28. It's verse about liberation, but for a modern leader, it's a manual for mental sovereignty. Let's look at the text of the verse 28, right? And the quote starts, shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eye and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breathing within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind and senses and intelligence. The transcendental leader seeking liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. Quote close. Well, friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, moving on. At first glance, this sounds like a guide for a monk in a cave. But let's translate this into a CEO speak. Let's look at it again. Shutting your external sense object, which is equal to filtering out the noise. Data is useful, but noise is deadly. Next is vision between the eyebrows. Single pointed focus, eliminating shiny object syndrome. Next, suspending the breathing, regulating the nervous system. You cannot lead if your body is in a permanent state of fight or flight, right? Free from desire, free from anger. That is the next phrase. This is the definition of objective decision making. Why does CEO need an inward gaze? Because the biggest threat in your company isn't the competition, it is your own unprocessed reactivity. When the CEO reacts out of fear, they cut cost into too early and stifle innovation. When they react out of desire, they over leverage and chase vanity metrics. When they react out of anger, they destroy corporate culture. The inward gaze mentioned in Gita is about becoming witness. In business psychology, we call this metacognition. It is the ability to watch your thoughts without being hijacked by them. Imagine a board meeting where room is heated, everyone is shouting, and if your gaze is inward, you aren't caught in the emotional crossfire. You are observing the pattern. You are the eye of the storm. That is a secret weapon. It allows you to see the signal while everyone else is drowning in the noise. The verse specifically mentioned equalizing the inhalation and exhalation. What does a spiritual text care about breathing? Well, because your breath is the remote control of your brain. Many of us know this fact. Breathing is the only a process in the body which can be controlled by you, as well as it is involuntary as well. Even if you don't think about breathing, your body continues to breathe, right? So there is a fine line using which you can start controlling your mind. So it's a common knowledge. Now let's proceed further. Science tells us that when you are stressed, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid. This triggered the situation that most of us are anxiety situation that most of us are suffering. The primitive part of the brain, which it controls this whole thing, is basically creating an environment of fear in your brain. You lose access to your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for complex strategy and empathy. The Gita was teaching biohacking long before the term even existed. By equalizing the breathing, you manually reset your nervous system. The boardroom application, how does it apply in the boardroom? Before you walk into a high stress negotiation, or before you hit that send button on a difficult email, you practice verse 28. You equalize the breathing. You move from state of threat to the state of resourcefulness. This is how you command a room without saying a word. And that is a true executive presence. The final part of the verse says this path leads to liberation. For a CEO, what is liberation? It is a freedom from being a slave to the stock price, slave to the ego, or even opinion of the industry. So Gita teaches a concept called Nishkam Karma, acting without attachment to the results. This doesn't mean you don't care about profits. It means you are so focused on the excellence of the process that you aren't paralyzed by the fear of the outcome. When you are free from the fear of the and desire, you can make hard decisions. You can pivot the company when it is unpopular. You can stand by your values when it is expensive. You are liberated from the need for external validation, which makes you one of the most dangerous and effective leader in the market. So how do you master this inward gaze? It's not about quitting your job to meditate. It's about integrating Gita into your workflow. And how you can do that? Starting with morning silence. Spend 5 minutes shutting out sense object. No phones, no email, just your breathing. Start thinking about your breathing process only for 5 minutes. All right. Next, three breathe rule. Before every meeting, equalize your inhalation and exhalation. Equal, right? Slow it down. Next, the mirror check. Ask yourself, am I moving towards the goal out of fear or out of purpose? Right? Mastering the inward gaze doesn't make you a passive leader at all. It makes you an unstoppable one. It transforms you from a CEO who is pushed by the world into a leadership role, or another person is who's actually shaping the world itself. Right? So it transforms that. Gita says that this is a way for the liberation for the leadership role. In the business world, we just call it the greatness. So friends, what do you think? If you have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for joining live. Thanks for watching. And if you found this leadership lesson valuable, subscribe for more ancient wisdom for the modern businesses. Now you can go lead from within. All right. So before we end this section, I'd like to speak few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, did you know that NASA is officially moving beyond the chemical rockets? In this video, we dive deep into the revolutionary nuclear thermal propulsion (NTP) technology that is set to slash travel time to red planet. Imagine a future where Mars isn't a grueling 7 months journey, but a weekend trip in comparison to everything we have known about the space exploration. Let us explore this further. So for 60 years, we have been stuck. Every time we look at Mars, we are staring at a 7 to 9 months commute between Earth and Mars. That isn't just a long time; it is dangerous time. Every day, every day in deep space is another day of the cosmic radiation, muscle atrophy, and the psychological toll of the isolation. But what if we could break that speed limit of space travel? What if we could treat the journey to the red planet not in months, not in years, but in few days, right? Like a weekend trip in comparison to the current tech. NASA has just officially crossed the Rubicon with the announcement of SR1 Freedom and a roadmap of 2028. The era of chemical rocket is ending. Today we are looking at the nuclear engine that are finally turning science fiction into a interplanetary reality. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, moving on. To understand the future, we have to look at why we cannot reach at this point in time, and currently why it is slow. Our best rockets today are chemical combustion. We all know that liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. They are very powerful, but they are incredibly inefficient. Think of it like this. A chemical rocket is like a high performance dragster. It's a massive oomph at the start, but it burns through its fuel in minutes. Once you are in orbit, you are basically a glider. By switching to nuclear, we aren't just adding more fuel, we are doubling the energy we get out of every gram of the propellant. So how does a nuclear engine actually works? Unlike the nuclear power in a plant on Earth basically that makes electricity, a nuclear thermal rocket NTR is much more direct, and it has several components starting with core. We have a compact fission reactor using high assay low enriched uranium, right? And it then create energy, which then send it to the nozzle, etc. And therefore we have to talk about the propellant. We pump the liquid hydrogen through the white hot core reactor, and then it basically comes out of the other side at very high speed. So now we have to talk about expansion. In less than a second, the hydrogen goes from minus 420 degrees Fahrenheit to 5000 degrees Fahrenheit, which then creates a huge thrust. So now let's talk about this thrust. The superheated gas screams out of the nozzle at a speed no chemical fire could ever reach. This is the holy grail of the propulsion. It gives us the high thrust of a rocket with a very long-term efficiency of an electric drive. We are currently in the pivotal year. As of April 2026, the design is right now on the drawing table. However, there is a roadmap, and that is June 2026. The final hardware development begins, and the mission will be SR1. It's a design as a nuclear electric hybrid. It uses the reactor to generate massive amount of electricity, powering high efficiency thruster to basically increase the speed. And it can run for months. It can go for very long time. And what is the goal? The goal is a direct mass mission capability by 2028. This isn't just a lab experiment anymore. We are building the flight hardware right now. So when we say weekend trip, we are talking about relative transit time. By cutting the journey to Mars from 250 days down to 100 or even 60 days, we solve the two biggest threats to human life. Number one is radiation. Less time spent in the void, which is open space, lower the dose of the solar particles or any cosmic radiation. Number two is the abort capability. Nuclear engines allow us to turn around or change course. Well, in a chemical rocket, once you are on your path, you are committed. Nuclear gives the pilot a steering wheel. Our multi-planetary future, which is to the stars, will have, will always remain a dream if we do not have faster mode of transport. We just don't have the engine to reach them. Why, right? So if we want to go to other worlds, other stars, we need faster mode of transport. So with the breakthrough that we are going to see in 2026, the gap between Earth and Mars is finally closing. We are no longer limited by how much fire we can make. We are now limited only by our ambition to explore. So friends, we have come to the end of our discussion today. My name is CK and you are watching Akulmach. And if you want to stay on the cutting edge of the Artemis era and the nuclear revolution, hit that subscribe button, and the future is arriving faster than you think. So before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and namaskar. Something very serious is happening in the automotive industry, more specifically with Honda. I'm sure all of us are Honda fan. Even if you're not Honda fan, then this information is still worthy for you to know. In a historic and shocking financial update, Honda Motors Corporation has just posted its first annual loss in nearly 70 years, reporting a staggering $9 billion deficit, which is equal to about 1.45 trillion yen in EV related charges. In this video, we dive deep into the collapse of Honda's aggressive EV only strategy and its sudden massive pivot back to hybrid technologies. Let us go and discuss this further. For nearly 70 years, Honda has been the gold standard of reliability. Since they first listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange in the year 1957, they have survived oil crises, global recessions, and shifting consumer tastes without ever posting an annual net loss until now. On May 14th, 2026, the unthinkable happened. Honda Motors Company reported a staggering $9 billion loss tied to its aggressive push into electric vehicles. To put that in perspective, that is not just a bad year, that was a historic industry shaking reversal. Just 3 years ago, Honda was the poster child for all in EV movement. They pledged to stop selling gas cars entirely by 2040. They partnered with tech giants like Sony. They committed billions to massive battery plants in Ohio and Ontario. But today, those plans are in tatters. Projects are being cancelled. CEOs are taking pay cuts. And the EV surge that was supposed to carry Honda into the future has instead driven them into a $9 billion wall. Is this the end of Honda as we know it, or is it a master stroke of survival once again? So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further with our analysis. Today we are breaking down exactly what went wrong and the hybrid lifeline Honda is desperately grabbing to save itself. Let's look at the numbers because they are brutal. Honda operating loss for the fiscal year ending March 2026 was approximately 414 billion yen. For those of you following markets, that's a massive swing from 1.2 trillion yen profit they saw just a year earlier. Where does the money go? It wasn't because the people stopped buying Hondas. In fact, if you strip away the EV investment, their core business and motorcycles and the traditional engines was actually profitable. The $9 billion loss comes from the restructuring charges. And therefore, there are several things that Honda is forced to do. First is write-off. Honda spent billions of building molds, designing software-defined platforms, and setting up the production line for their new 0 Series EV. Number two is the cancellation. When they realized that the demand wasn't there, they had to walk away. They cancelled Honda Zero SUV and the Acura RSX EV. Third is the supply chain. Because they had already made deals with supplier, they now owe billions in compensation for parts they no longer want. And this is what the analysts call a software-defined reality check. Honda tried to build a smartphone on wheels to compete with Teslas and Chinese brand like BYD, but they found they couldn't do it profitably. You might be asking why now? Why not 2 years ago? The answer lies in the perfect storm of politics and consumer behavior. In September 2025, the US landscape shifted dramatically. The second administration of President Donald Trump moved quickly to scrap EV tax credit. Suddenly, that $7,500 incentive that made an electric Honda look affordable was gone. At the same time, new tariffs on the imported part made building EV even more expensive. Honda's leadership admitted they misread the room. They expected the US market to stay EV hungry forever. Instead, consumer did something unexpected. They started buying hybrids in record numbers. Even more painful was the situation in China. Honda's official report was refreshingly honest and a bit sad. They admitted they were unable to deliver products that offer value for money better than newer EV manufacturers. In short, they were being out-engineered and outpriced in the world's biggest EV market. The most visible sign of this retreat is in North America. For years, Honda had been touting its 0 Series, the lineup that would define the brand for the 21st century. As of today, 15 billion EVs value chain project in Ontario, Canada has been put on indefinite hold. This wasn't just a factory, it was supposed to be an entire ecosystem from battery materials to assembly. Then there is Sony Honda partnership as well. Remember the Afila? It was a high-tech EV collaboration that was going to use Sony's entertainment system. That project has also hit a massive roadblock, with development and sales effectively halted. To show this severity, Honda's board members are forfeiting their bonuses and the senior executives are taking 25% to 30% pay cuts. This is a company in survival mode. So what is the plan now? Honda isn't going out of business. They are performing a massive tactical retreat to higher ground. The ultra efficient hybrid. Instead of 100% EV by 2040, Honda has pivoted. They are now launching 15 new hybrid models globally by 2029. They are focusing on what America and the Indian buyers actually want: large D segment SUVs and mid sized sedans that don't need a charging station. They are even retooling their EV battery plants to make smaller, cheaper hybrid batteries instead. What is the goal? The goal to return to the record high profit of 8.9 billion by fiscal year 2029. They are also leaning on their unsung heroes, the motorcycle division. While the car side was bleeding money, Honda's motorcycles, especially in India and Vietnam, are seeing massive growth. In many ways, the humble two wheeler is subsidizing the survival of the four wheeler division. So, back to our original question. Now, is this the end of Honda? Well, if you mean the end of Honda as an EV only visionary, then definitely yes. That dream is over for now. They have scrapped the targets, cancelled their projects, and paid 9 billion, sort of tuition fee to learn a hard lesson about the market reality. But as a car company, they might be their most important moment since 1957. By admitting they were wrong, by being the decisive CEO, and Honda is trying to reclaim its clarity among the total disruption. They are betting that the future isn't the surge of electric cars but steady hybrid middle path. So friends, what do you think about this move? Is Honda being smart by retreating, or are they falling behind for good? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you feel. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. I am CK. Thanks for watching Akulmach World. I will catch you again in the next one. But before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
In the age of antibiotic resistance, where the once curable infection now defies machine's best weapon, a new hero emerges, not from the pharmacy, but from the world of nanotechnology. Imagine a sheet so thin it's only 1 atom thick, yet sharper than any blade nature has ever forged. This is a graphene oxide, a carbon lattice that slices through the deadly bacteria while leaving human cells untouched. It does not just fight superbug, it rewrites the rule of survival, turning physics into medicine and proving that sometimes the smallest structure can wage the bigger wars.
Hello, friends, you're most welcome. Namaskaram. We all know that the chemical rockets have reached their physical limit, leaving Mars years away and stars completely out of reach. But what if we could replace the fire with the raw power of a miniature sun? By using superconducting magnetic nozzles to accelerate plasma to relativistic speed, we could finally turn science fiction into high speed reality. How this works? Let us explore this further. For the last 70 years, we have been trying to conquer the final frontier using essentially the same technology that powered the V2 rocket of the 1940s. We burn fuel, we push it out at the back, and we move forward. It's effective for getting us to the orbit or even to the moon, but as far as for the rest of the solar system, it is simply not enough. Chemical rockets have reached their physical limits. At our current speeds, Mars is a multi-month journey, and the stars, they are effectively out of reach. We are like explorers trying to cross the Atlantic Ocean in a canoe. But what if we could replace the fire with the raw power of a miniature sun? What if we could stop carrying our fuel and start creating our energy? This isn't just a dream anymore. By using superconducting magnetic nozzles to accelerate plasma to relativistic speed, we are finally turning science fiction into a high speed reality. So, friends, welcome to the fusion revolution in space propulsion. To understand why we are stuck, you have to understand the tyranny of the rocket equation. It is the cruel law of physics that dictates how much fuel you need to lift as a payload. Because chemical rockets are inherently inefficient, they are heavy, and because they are heavy, you need more fuel to lift the fuel. It is vicious cycle of diminishing returns, and you end up with a massive rocket which is 90% fuel tank and only tiny fraction is actually the mission payload. Now compare that to a fusion drive. In a fusion reactor, you are fusing hydrogen isotopes, deuterium and tritium to release massive amount of energy, and this is the same process that lights up our sun. So if we capture even a fraction of that energy and focus it, we aren't just talking about faster rockets. We are talking about an entirely new class of space flights. We are talking about continuous acceleration. Imagine a ship that doesn't just burn once and coast for months. Imagine a ship that accelerates for weeks on end and coasting at speed that makes the outer planet looks like a weekend trip. So if the fusion is the engine, the magnetic nozzle is the transmission. This is where the real magic happens. In the normal engine, the exhaust, which is quite hot, is controlled by a solid physical nozzle made of metal or ceramic. But in a fusion reactor, the exhaust is plasma, an ionized gas so hot it would instantly vaporize any physical material it touched. So you cannot touch a miniature sun with a metal wall, definitely not. So how do we direct that energy to create the thrust? We use magnetism. By using massive superconducting magnets, we can create a magnetic bottle or a magnetic nozzle. We trap the superhot plasma inside the field of invisible high strength magnetic force. Think of it like a funnel. The magnetic field acts as an invisible wall, forcing the high-speed plasma to exit the engine in one single high-velocity stream. This in turn generates the massive amount of thrust required to push our spacecraft forward. We are essentially riding the solar wind we created ourselves. We aren't just pushing against the air, we are pushing against the fundamental force of the universe. Now, you might be asking, if this is so great, why don't we have it yet? Well, it is not the lack of theory. The physics of fusion propulsion is quite sound. The challenge is the engineering nightmare of scaling this up for a spacecraft. There are a few things that we need to take care of. First is the heat management. We are dealing with millions of degrees. Even with the magnetic containment, some heat will bleed through, keeping the ship from melting or keeping the superconducting magnets from warming up, and losing the superconductivity is a massive task. Next is a plasma stability. Plasma is famously difficult to control. It wants to twist, turn, and break free of its magnetic cage. Maintaining a stable, consistent stream for years of interstellar travel requires computing power and control systems that are still in their infancy. Next is the weight versus power. Our magnets currently are huge, heavy, and require massive cooling system. For an interstellar vessel, we need to drastically increase our power to weight ratio. But here is a good news. We are seeing breakthroughs. New high temperature superconducting materials are being developed right now that allow for smaller, lighter, and more powerful magnets that we ever thought possible. When we master the magnetic nozzle, we change everything. Mars won't be a 3 year mission, it will be a 3 months mission. The asteroid belt will be an industrial base, and Oort Cloud, that will become our new frontier. We are currently the generation that is deciding whether we stay on a single planet and become a single planet species, or we are trapped by the weight of our own chemical fuel, or whether we become a truly interstellar civilization. The fusion revolution isn't coming in a 100 years. It's being calculated, engineered, and tested in labs right now. The fire of the star is within our reach. We just need to figure out how to point it in the right direction. So, friends, thanks for watching. And if you want to, want us to dive deeper into physics of how we might actually build these superconducting magnets, make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments. If you could go to any other star system, where would you point your fusion drive to? I am more curious to know what people think about this. So, friends, thanks for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one. Welcome. Namaskaram. Thank you to every single one of you for being part of this journey. Reaching this milestone is a testament to the incredible community that we are building together. A community driven by curiosity, professional growth, and a desire to understand the intersection of technology, strategy, and the timeless wisdom. From decoding the latest AI trends and the global business shifts to exploring the leadership lessons from Bhagavad Gita and navigating the complexity of the modern corporate world, your engagement with feedback fuel everything we do here at Akulmach Business. So, friends, if you're watching this, you are the part of something very special. Today, we aren't just here to talk business or analyze the latest AI trends. Today, we are here to celebrate. It's right. We have officially crossed 4,000 subscriber milestone here on the Akulmach Business YouTube channel. It's a number that represents so much more than just a digital on screen. It represents 4,000 individual professionals, students, aspiring leaders, and lifelong learners who have chosen to spend their valuable time engaging with our content. We started this platform with a specific vision to build a space where ancient wisdom meets modern strategy. Whether it's decoding the logic of a black hole, understanding the legalities of AI, or applying the timeless verses of Bhagavad Gita to the boardroom leadership, We wanted to create a community that think differently, and seeing 4,000 of you join that mission is quite simply humbling. When we look back at the journey that brought us here, we think about the why. When we launched the channel, we were just a few people with sort of a microphone and a lot of ideas. We wanted to bridge the gap between traditional education and the reality of 2026 business landscape. Think about the variety of topics that we have tackled so far. We have dissected the logistics empire in major corporations. We have analyzed the ethical implications of algorithmic liability. We have sat down to discuss the unshakable CEOs. The common thread of all of it, it's the curiosity. You, our audience, are the ones driving this channel. You are the ones asking the tough questions in the comments, and you are the ones pushing us to go deeper, to research harder, and to provide more value. We have seen the community grow during some of the most volatile and exciting times in the global market. We have navigated the shifts in the AI sector together, and every single time we hit the publish, we are reminded that there is a hunger for high level intellectual discussions. So, thank you for validating that vision. In the spirit of our channel, I want to bring in a moment of reflection, we talk often about Bhagavad Gita on this channel. One of the core lessons is about detachment from the fruits of action, performing your duty with dedication while remaining centered, regardless of the outcome. That's exactly the philosophy we are trying to apply to Akulmach business. Yes, 4,000 is a fantastic milestone. It is a metric of growth, but for us, the real success isn't the number. It is the quality of the conversions. It is the email that we received from students saying our Gita based leadership video helped them through difficult exams, or professionals who told us our AI market analysis helped them pivot their career. That is the real subscriber count. It's the impact. As we move towards the 5,000 target, we promise to keep that at the core of our operations. We aren't chasing trends just for the sake of clicks. We are chasing clarity, strategic foresight, and wisdom. So, thank you for being the audience that demand that level of depth. So, what does on being behind the scene here in the studio? I think many of you see that final product, but you don't see the late nights of research, the script revisions, the technical challenges, and the constant drive to keep the production quality high. It is intense, but it is incredibly rewarding. Whether it is setting up the masterclass for the live stream beginners courses or producing content about the next lunar mission, our team at Akulmach is obsessed with one thing: how to make complex subject accessible and actionable for you. We have had our challenges, absolutely. There has been a week where the industry changed so fast we had to rewrite the scripts hour before filming, but these challenges have only made us sharper. And your feedback, your support in the comment section, the shares, the likes, that's the fuel that keeps the engine running. So we have hit 4,000 today. Now the question is, what is next? Our target is 5,000, but we aren't just looking at the numbers, we are looking at the roadmap. We have big plans. We are expanding our focus on deep dive business strategy, more framework on how to survive the next generation of AI disruption. We will also focus on space and tech. We are ramping up our coverage on new space race, lunar colonization, and the technology that will define the next decade. We will also look at the educational revolution. We are continuing to work with UPSC aspirants and those looking to reskill in an evolving economy. We have some exciting guests and collaboration in the pipeline that we can't wait to share. The journey to 5,000 is going to be faster, deeper, and more dynamic than ever before. We hope our stay is strapped in for the ride. If you have been with us since the beginning, thank you. If you are new to Akulmach Business family, welcome. We are so glad that you are here. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the button and join us. And for everyone, the best way you can help us reach our next target for 5,000 is to share your favorite video from our channel with with one colleague or friend who might find it valuable. Let's keep growing, let's keep learning, and keep leading. Once again, thank you all for 4,000 subscription. We'll see you very soon in the next one, my friends. Bye for now.